already signed up.
Already.
Perfect. What am I leaving? Alrighty, so I call to order the regular meeting of council for Wednesday, December 18th, 2024. I'd like to take time to acknowledge that we are gathered on the Treaty 8 First Nations territory, the long-standing presence of the elders and ancestors of Treaty 8. Through this acknowledgement, we extend recognition and respect to the BC Treaty 8 First Nations and all those who call the Peace Country home. Item number 3.1, adoption of agenda. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Wall. Any discussion regarding items on today's agenda? Councillor Wall?
I would like to add an item into the closed agenda.
Into the closed agenda? So, is it part of any of the items that are listed? Is it under C, E, F, G, or K by chance?
It is under E.
E, okay. So then we will do that during the closed part of the meeting.
My apologies.
No worries. So we're just adding a secondary E.
E is land.
Land. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay.
Make sure.
Any other things of note on today's agenda? Okay. All those in favor? And that is carried. Wonderful. All right. Adoption of minutes. The council adopts the minutes from the regular council meeting held on December 4th. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Woodall. Thank you. Any discussion regarding the minutes? Councillor Woodall?
Yeah, so I already brought it to the CEO's attention. Just make a note that during the Young Life discussion last meeting that you left.
Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, please no. Right, thank you.
I was only taking a note that
Okay. Councillor Wall?
I just want to ask Mr. Sapolsky here if the. Oh, never mind. I see them. The amendments.
Yes, both amendments were added for the land acknowledgement as well as for the point of order extending proceedings past 9 p.m.
Perfect. I made a call earlier today, so we didn't have to do it here, but
Oh.
I didn't look at it since then. So.
No worries, sounds good. Okay, any other items of note on the minutes? All right, all those in favor of adopting the minutes with the addition of adding that I pieced out during the Young Life. All those in favor? And that is carried, wonderful. Okay, introduction of late items none, public hearings none, delegations none, excuse me. Number 8, unfinished business and business arising from the minutes. 8.1.
The council adopts the amended flag policy reflecting changed masking procedures.
Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Woodall. Thank you. Discussion? Councillor Wall?
On 5.3 of the flag policy, I'm just curious. Does this mean that on statutory holidays that staff will not be coming in to lower the flags for things like that? They'll be coming in prior? So on Remembrance Day, let's say, staff will come in on the 10th and lower the flag?
Yes.
And raise them when they return to work?
Right. Would be in that situation the 12th.
Okay. Which is, yes, depending on the day of the week. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was the case and not that the flag won't be lowered.
No, this was predominantly encouraged by the fact that we wanted to reduce overhead costs that would be associated with unionized call-out fees. So we were just trying to be cognizant of that element consideration.
I'm correct in my understanding, though, that that's how it is. It's be the day before the stat and then look lowered after work.
Okay, wonderful. Councillor Ravel?
So in clarification, the reason this is coming back is because of the change in regards to that call out and when we're lowering it, and that's simply what that's for final approval. Okay.
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor, oh, yes.
I just want to confirm that's the only change in that document.
Only change.
Okay.
Okay, all right, I'm going to call the question then. All those in favor of adopting the amended flag policy reflecting the change in the masking procedures? And that is carried. Well, thank you very much. Okay, 8.2.
Council portfolios and comprehensive report. The recommendation is that council accepts the additional information regarding council portfolios and the comprehensive report as presented.
Seconded by Councillor Woodall. Thank you. Discussion? Councillor Rowell?
Okay, so I thank you for the report, and I appreciate it. So we're just building off of our work last time, and looking at it through the hybrid model approach, where we're going to have some newly struck committees. So this is a recommendation, and I'm wondering if the portfolio assignments are kind of up for a bit of shuffling based off of expertise, preference, and availability.
Hey, is there any particular one you'd like to shuffle, or?
If I may, the fire department usually meets on Monday nights. What they do is fantastic and extremely important work. Unfortunately, I work Monday nights, and therefore...
The amended copy that we just received has it.
Oh, jeez. Okay, sorry, this is the previous version. I apologize. Let me look at this new version. I yield temporarily, so I may...
No worries.
So I may read this.
I had noted the request that you had made last time the portfolios had been brought up, and so I've changed. Councillor Wall will be taking on the RCMP and the fire department, and I've added you to the Northern Heritage Society and then the school and education. So in those days, I think if I remember correctly from our original conversation, worked out better.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, thank you. So essentially, Alaska Highway, for myself, it'd be Alaska Highway Society, Northern Heritage and Trails, which deals with tourism. You have tourism, so we can work in tandem.
Mm-hmm.
And then cemetery, and then school and education.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Then if I may, the primary internal committee, public safety and crime prevention, me being the primary, therefore wouldn't make much sense anymore.
Ah, nice catch.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very true. So what I would do is, I would probably switch you and Councillor Wall. If you could change that for me, Mr. Smolsky, that'd be wonderful.
So to be primary on municipal infrastructure and planning, and
Yeah.
secondary on recreation and special events.
Yeah.
Therefore making Councillor Wall public safety and crime prevention, and alternate on municipal infrastructure and planning.
Yes.
So that'd be the alternate for municipal infrastructure and planning?
You would be, the alternate for municipal infrastructure and planning and public crime prevention. So you'd be switching those two. Councillor Wall?
Just to comment on that, because Councillor Rabel and I are married, if he is, like, let's say we go to town or whatever,
I see what you're
we're typically going to be unavailable at the same time.
I don't mean to do the chair bumbling in the...
Nope. Okay.
I just don't know if it would work. I'm happy with the switch. I'm happy with whatever.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just being the alternate for Councillor Rabel. I don't know if that's going to work out.
Councillor Johnston could take the alternate role.
I know, but then it would be public crime and safety, primary and alternate on the same person. I was just thinking that. I was like,
Well,
oh,
we
that's...
put municipal infrastructure up as the alternate.
We're both primary on municipal infrastructure, because there's really, what, 4, right? Or 3? 4. 4?
Nope,
Do you see a way that we could alternate that where they're not both either the primary or the alternate on the same committees?
Yeah, we'd have to play around with that and follow up, but
Yeah.
we can definitely explore it.
Yeah, because that is a very good point. Yes, Councillor Rabel?
The one that's 4 is recreation and special events, where everyone else is 3, 2 and 1. Then it's 2 and 2 for recreation and special events. If I may, I'm absolutely content with primary as municipal infrastructure and planning based off of my education.
Yeah.
And then also alternate for recreation and special events, because those are things that can be carried forward. I don't know.
I can be alternate, whatever.
Yeah, I definitely think Councillor Walsh should be public safety and crime prevention. And then, see, with your schedule, Councillor Rabel, I'm actually thinking about doing recreation and special events with Councillor Wall,
Okay.
just because I know that you're quite busy. So if we could actually make that change, if you're okay with that, I just know that you're an incredibly busy person. You make me look lazy.
You're very busy. Well,
So-
my reports are slim.
So if we could actually keep that with Councillor Wall, I'd prefer that.
Which one?
So you would be public safety and crime prevention as your primary, and then your alternate would be recreational and special events.
Recreation and
Special events. And then we'll stick with municipal infrastructure and planning for Councillor Rabble for his primary. And we'll find something for your alternate.
Councillor Robert, would you want recreation and special events, considering your portfolios would be the Alaska Highway Society, Northern Heritage Trails, things like that? And then we'll just find an alternate for me.
Well, the reason why I want you to go with it is just because Councillor Rebel's schedule is so busy. And so recreation and special events is probably going to require some volunteering and some extra help with those committees once they're formed. And so it's going to be quite hands-on. So that's the only reason why.
It is an alternate role.
And I'm the alternate on public safety.
Yeah. It is an alternate role, but you're alternate to me, which means, I'm going to be honest, I'll be phoning you. Not because I can't make it, but because I want you to do it with me.
I mean,
There you go. See? So.
I really like the idea of being part of the municipal infrastructure and planning.
I know, but I just think I will totally call you to come and help me, so. Yeah, we'll look at the alternate thing going forward for you, Councillor Rabble, because currently you don't have one, but I definitely want to keep your primary as municipal infrastructure and planning, so I think that would be really handy.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions about Councillor Wall?
Regarding the portfolios, so with the South Peace Health Services Society, I know we gave them some money.
Mm-hmm.
They have, what's it called?
Old Trace House.
They have the Bull Trace, no, not that one. They have the Bull Trace House and they are doing housing.
Locum housing.
Locum housing. I don't foresee any of that happening in Poos. Is there a reason that it's been prioritized as high? Like, it's a really important service to have. I understand that.
Yeah.
But people from Poos aren't going to be staying the night in Dawson Creek at the Bull Trace House, right?
Well, if you look at the report that Mr. Sawalski has done, he's definitely taken quite a bit of time to really focus on why that's so important. I'm looking for it currently, I can't find it, but I'm going to let Mr. Sawalski speak to this because he's spent so much time researching this and categorizing it, and I think he'd do a far better job.
Yeah, ultimately, I would see it still holding value. We did have a breakdown. I'm trying to find the page that we have the exact breakdown on here. Give me 1 second. I do apologize. I don't think I have the whole report included
I don't
in
think
this,
so, no,
in
that's
this
what I was
agenda. That was in
thinking.
the previous agenda. But to give pretty much context, it does hold an important resemblance to the local community based on sorry, I'm rambling on my words here. Let me backtrack here. But it does hold importance based on the value of the shared PPA that was put forth by the municipality in developing this project.
Okay. And really, you know what the nice thing is that they come up to us every year, and Chris is a wonderful gentleman. He comes out, he presents to us twice a year. We get to catch up with him at conferences. And so really, like, the added work, there's not much to it. I know that they do rely on us a bit when it comes to the advertising side of just really sharing their posters, putting out their, pamphlets so that when people are within Pouskouvis, if they have a family member up at Fort Nelson, that, they're able to spread the word to the people who could potentially need it. That is something that I know Deanna, who runs Boltry House, had us do in the past. But really, it doesn't take much, but it's still valuable to keep that line of communication going, really. And you can hang out with Chris. Chris is a cool dude.
I'm just not saying the purpose of
Yeah.
it. Maybe while I'm in it, I'll see.
Honestly, I don't see you doing a ton with it. I don't see you attending meetings. I don't see you really corresponding a lot with them. It's just when it's just you know what? Whenever you see Chris and you connect with him, it's having those conversations of, hey, do you guys have any new pamphlets out? Do you want me to pop them in the village office? Do you guys have a new poster? You know, each year they hold that mixer event. It's kind of going there and shaking hands and thanking all the medical professionals that are, you know, making Poultry's House happen. And yeah, it's just really keeping that great line of communication going. So okay. I don't see it taking up much time, honestly, but I still think it's something great that's a placeholder, I guess, really. Councillor Rabble?
In regards to portfolios, have we thought about YMCA, the Chamber of Commerce, and Community Futures?
Yes, those ones.
Would be invited to the committees then?
That would be dependent on motion and resolution from council.
Yeah, that's definitely up to you guys. That is something that we could sit on. In the last report, I know, it was in that much larger report. Where? Put your finger on it.
Possible integration stuff.
Thank you. I'm such a mom. Put your finger on it. I want to see. Show me.
Somebody that we've done.
Okay, yeah. So that's the YMCA. You know what, Mr. Smolsky, could you do me a favor? Could you run and print off the larger report that was in the last?
Copies.
Can you print everybody one, including yourself? That would be wonderful. We're gonna take about a 2-minute break, guys.
Okay.
Thank you. Please, sweetheart, you have it.
I've thought.
Well, keep your thoughts in there until the meeting resumes.
I could still be the alternate. I can just be an alternate to two things and it solves the problem.
Oh, for the other thing?
Yeah.
Well, let's solve this thing first. I can only deal with so many things.
And there's a lot of great places that do a lot of great work.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's there's 1,000 boards and committees in our area. Yeah,
Mm.
they all do really good stuff. So,
If we have that bigger report, it'll be easier for us to really look at the breakdown of it. And
there's also the Child Care Task Force. The YMCA also deals with the child care, but also recreation events, and then also homelessness and whatnot.
And like when it comes to the YMCA thing, I would add that to me because I've been working with them for like 3 months. So
They could be invited to the subcommittees because the committees are more about attacking problems, right? Whereas the portfolios are keeping the relationships. Yeah.
are you getting? Is there cookies?
Whoa.
Oh,
Somebody's
Nanaimo
in
bars.
Nanaimo.
Wait, I want a cookie.
I can only do so many. I can do like 1 or 2, and then they just
Well,
start.
they always
Just,
take little
Give me an entire tray.
yeah,
And I'll let my kids have like 2 or 3 and then I'll put them in the freezer.
they get like nice and rock hard. Because warm is just not right, you
They're
know.
alright, but
I actually don't drink rock hard with your damn teeth.
I do.
Make it work. Suffer for goodness, eh?
And it's great. I polished off an entire tray to myself.
Look at the burger he made. Cookie burger.
I couldn't decide. I just know I don't like gingerbread.
I love my favorite cookies.
I didn't realize it changed. I just got it on Tuesday or something. So, hey, that means that's how fast we're boogieing here. You know?
No,
It's been a change, eh?
well, I read it and I was like, oh, nope, that's gonna be changed. We've already decided on that.
What an interesting mathematical problem. 5 people, 4
Mhm.
things. We can't be on any of the same.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, we need to be on all 4.
So
Technically,
no,
that's the only solution.
the only solution is someone needs to be on 3, and my solution is
What?
someone needs to be on all 3 committees.
No. What?
I said the mayor.
Mayor.
Or there needs to be someone on 3 committees,
Yeah.
or there's going to be 3 people on 1 committee as an alternate.
Mm.
Well, me and Ray already doubled up on recreation and special events.
Yeah, so you guys are already doubled up on
We're already
recreation.
sharing that.
So you and Ray have recreation and special events.
So between the 2 of us, you might get a half-assed job.
And then Dan. But do we need 2 alternates?
cheek,
But the question is, do we need 2 alternates for recreation and special events? If we already have 2 people on recreation and special events.
Yeah, but the thing is, if both Ray and I get taken out for work, because that is very, very much possible.
But I think it's possible, but I think it'd be unlikely.
You know what, gentlemen, I will be phoning, because I volunteer at all these different things, and we always need help. Always.
Wait, are there only 3? There are only 3, right? Infrastructure, recreation, and public safety. Those are the only 3, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
You know
okay.
these are snickerdoodles, right?
Snickerdoodles are good.
What? Yeah, no, these are snickerdoodles.
Actually, because there are 3 mathematically, it's impossible for us not to. Like,
We're gonna have to overlap on something. So I'm fine. Like,
Okay, but I attend everything anyway, so.
if you want me to be on the rec thing, that's fine.
Back to you take it.
No, like, if you want me to be on the rec thing, I'm totally happy with that, but I think I'd serve better as an alternate on the infrastructure and planning, but if Councilor Rattler is the primary.
No, honestly, with your guys' background, I think having both of you guys on the infrastructure and planning, both of you involved, that's not necessarily a bad idea.
I really don't care. Do it, don't do it.
don't do it.
Wait,
You don't have the cameras still on too.
Well, they're gonna cut that out, aren't they?
You know.
Well, no, but it's like, honestly, it's your concern if you think that there's a conflict. So like, you think there's a
No, I
conflict?
just mean, there's a higher likelihood of us both being unavailable at the same time. That's the issue. Not the conflict of us both being on the same committee, like, whatever, we're both on the same, this, that, and the other, right?
Oh, okay, that should be
It's
good.
just to be able to serve, that there is an alternate. As long as there's an alternate that isn't us for whatever that thing is, then it's fine, technically, right? As long as there's a primary alternate that isn't us on all of those committees.
There's people speeding through the school that you talk to, and
Which it already is, so.
They can be speeding in
Unless it finances, I wouldn't sweat it.
You just gotta talk to the detachment commander about it. I just hadn't got around, I had that conversation last month with the drone operator, and he just got his new drone, and I just haven't. Then we changed it for this, so. Something to think about when you're talking to,
Would you guys be okay if I stayed the alternate for the municipal infrastructure planning?
I'm fine with it. But I think Kurt was saying that his concern is if you're both gone.
But then you're still here.
Oh, yeah, no,
So,
I'm
if
totally
all
here.
3 of us are out of town, well then business, passes off, right?
Well, if all 3 of us are
Well,
gone.
there we go, we're not having any meetings anyway.
If we can turn the tap on and water comes up and we can flush and it goes away, we're good.
Then we're good,
So I think I can stay public safety and municipal. As an alternate, can I attend those meetings as well?
Yeah, I attended NDIT stuff, you just can't
Yeah.
vote.
Yeah,
It
that was-
depends on our TOR for these things, right?
Exactly, right? So the NDIT stuff, Kurt always likes to
I like to keep an eye.
He just can't vote.
Yeah.
That's what the only difference, but nobody ever votes no. You ever notice that?
No, they don't. They're
They
like,
never
love,
vote-
everyone's gorgeous, everyone's lovely.
They
Everything's
never,
amazing. Yeah.
every project goes through, and I'm like,
We just gotta get there. Like we just
I tried
gotta.
getting my freaking park on, they denied me,
Wait.
like, right at the,
Here's something that could happen.
Mm.
I could be on 2 primaries and not be an alternate.
There's only 3 committees.
I know.
Just
So
being greedy.
okay, maybe. It's another possible solution. I'm not suggesting. I'm just saying.
I think just swap these keeps it.
Sorry about the delay there. I have the reports opened to the strategic alignment of
Well, that's
Southeast
so-
Health Society.
thank you.
Yes, so pretty much this outlines the rationale.
I'm sorry for throwing you, like, go, print
No,
out.
that's okay.
No,
It's
but
okay.
I was
It's
like,
all relevant information.
I'm like, we're gonna
I'm
keep
disappointed
doing
that I
this.
didn't highlight it for us.
I know, I'm sorry about that.
I know.
I'll take some
You
notes for
only
next time.
copied the right page.
Where's the executive summary?
Only
Yeah.
copied it.
But the strategic plan really is summed up in the bullet point there, that especially that we're having a aging in place program included in our operations.
That's what it was.
Yeah, it's the one.
Okay, anyway, yes. All right. Resume the meeting, the regular council meeting of December 18th. I almost said October. Of December 18th, 2024.
Christmas is next week.
Thank
Don't
you,
do
I
it
know,
to us.
I know. Thank you for printing this off, Mr. Swolsky. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to do that. I think that this will help us focus in our conversation. So, you were asking about the chamber and stuff, right? And I think,
Oh, well, the South Beach Health Society was the last question.
okay, we can
If I
go
may.
back to that one then,
My
absolutely.
question is answered by the report.
Yes, it was outlined as a strong, high value partnership.
Wonderful, I'm so glad that the question has been answered, all right,
I'm happy with the portfolio as is then.
okay.
Yeah, predominantly it's just due to the rationale of us both sharing shared alignment and strategic vision with aging in place programming.
That is a very valid reason. And it's something I didn't think about. But now that I've seen the report and I'm kind of, yeah. Yeah.
Sounds good. I'm just looking for, so there's the YMCA information, there's no page on it.
Thank you, Mr. Spolsky, by the way.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. If you go back 2 pages previously in the report, we do have under additional information for committee support for key organizations. There is a breakdown of additional groups. I think last time in our previous council meeting, there was a request for a breakdown on the Legion, the Puskupi Museum, as well as on YMCA BC/Northern BC. So we do have a little bit of an alignment matrix for each organization or agency, outlining contribution for objective and where they would score on the criteria for alignment value with our strategic priorities.
Yes, Councillor Wong?
I apologize, but have we already read this report?
Yes, it was included on the December 4th agenda.
It was on the last agenda. Yeah.
That's why it seems familiar.
Yeah. That's why I was like, right, we should grab this, it'll jog our brains.
Everything in here I think I've read.
But, except for the new amendments that just came.
Yeah, the new amendments.
And for the short list of additional external committees, that is included on the 4th last page of the package. There's a short list of external committees that we can possibly explore further.
Councillor Wong?
Speaking about the internal committees, I think me being public safety and crime prevention makes the most sense based on the portfolios with the RCMP and fire department and health. But keeping the municipal infrastructure and planning as a secondary, I think would make the most sense considering my education as well.
So basically leave it alone as it is.
Leave it alone as it is, just swap me and Councillor Rabble for public safety, and so I have public safety, and Councillor Rabble has municipal infrastructure and planning as the primary, and I can get municipal infrastructure and planning as the secondary, and he can get recreation special events as secondary.
Okay,
So just,
I'm okay with that.
I'm fine with that as well. As long as you pinky swear that I can still phone you for special events to come volunteer. Pinky swear!
it's my job. yes. You can still phone me about it.
So yeah, I see here there's a few that aren't quite on here yet, but I definitely like the Chamber of Commerce. I know I'm already in contact with the Community Futures. I've been in contact with them for a while. United Way, I'm already in contact with them as well. BC Rural Center, is that the BC Rural Community something? It's like yeah, I'm already doing that.
Okay. Wow.
I know.
It's also BC Rural Health.
I'm on that too.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot about that one as well. Right, BC Rural.
We need to have a committee meeting about how many committees you sit on.
I can't remember what I do all day.
Oh wait, that's what we're doing right
I'm just in committee meetings, yeah.
We would need a committee to decide that committee.
So the only one I'm not currently on is the Chamber of Commerce. And I'd be interested in sitting on that one, or having somebody else sit on it if somebody else wanted it, but I would definitely like to add the Chamber of Commerce to that. You guys okay if I sit on the Chamber of Commerce, or would one of you like to sit on the Chamber of Commerce, or?
What time are the meetings? I think they're during the day.
They are, I think they're like 10 a.m.
Yeah, quite in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
And you know, I am very, very lucky because I did take a leave of absence from my job to do this job, so I do have a lot more time available to me than you guys do, and I absolutely totally understand that. And that's why I am able to sit on all these additional committees that I've been on for a while, because I'm no longer working my regular full-time job. So if you're comfortable with it, I would be more than happy to sit on that one. Yes, Councilor.
Regarding the Chamber of Commerce, as the mayor and the spokesperson for the municipality as a whole, I believe that you would be the best person to sit on that board. Right? Just because of the way it is as an applicant, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I know you're talking, you want to kind of do it. I think you're still the best person. I think you are the best
Yeah,
person.
no, I don't mind doing it. I just, if somebody else is desperate, I would be fine if you guys wanted to as well.
The historical context, I think it was 86 or 83, but anyways, they changed their name to Dawson Creek District Chamber of Commerce and actually expanded the service area under some sort of federal statute or whatnot. Anyways, it's just keeping a part of that, and because it does actually represent Goose. And I think that we could keep it ear to the ground is what the business community needs and how we could best set ourselves up for success here in the municipality. But otherwise, and then the other piece, the second piece is sometimes most of the time, these committees and boards require letters from council or the mayor to say, yes, this person is the liaison. How should we are we accepting this as concrete? And then from that, are we able to receive letters so that we can submit to these committees?
That would definitely be the easiest way, if we could final it out tonight and kind of get it figured out for in the new year, we can begin communicating with these different boards and kind of going in and introducing ourselves. That would definitely be best. So Mr. Stabalski, for my portfolios, if you could add Chamber of Commerce and YMCA, just because I am already working with the YMCA in partnership with Northern Health, so I meet with them every 3 months.
Perfect, listed.
Perfect.
And BC Rural Health.
Once,
It is, it just is. By default, you
Yeah.
get it, yeah.
if I listed them all, it would be far longer. You don't need to list every one of them. We'll just add those two. Yeah, I'm comfortable with the portfolio list as they are. Is there any other changes anybody would like to see to the portfolios that they have currently listed? Councillor Wall?
It's not necessarily about that. It's about, I do think we should have, in the future, some sort of conversation around a DVP committee, like a board of variance or something.
Well, we are technically supposed to have Board of Variance Committee. We've never had any luck getting a Board of Variance Committee.
That wouldn't be a committee of council, that'd be a committee of the community, I believe, or a
Yes,
combination.
well, it's supposed to be a combination of the two, and we've never been able to get anybody to sign up for it. You know, people are just not super interested in development permits and variances.
Maybe if we put something in the Village Voice that we're looking for volunteers to join a committee, and if we get nobody, then
We can, we've done it multiple times.
And there will be an engagement process on the Board of Variance, let's say call out or expression of
Yeah.
interest when we are going through the zoning review and redraft once OCP is ratified.
Okay.
So that will be an activity that we will start getting some momentum on, most likely in late quarter one or early quarter two of 2025.
Sounds good. We'll win them over with our charm and smiling faces. Works for me, I'm telling you. Okay, anything else? All right, so, what was the recommendation I was wondering? Council accepts the additional information regarding council portfolios, council have the report as presented.
As amended.
As amended.
May I amend my motion to say as amended?
Wait, hang on. Can we actually do this in 2 steps? Can we, we're gonna do this in 2 steps, actually. I'd like to put the motion on the floor that council accepts the portfolios as presented. Can I get a seconder?
As amended.
As presented.
No amended because you added to your portfolio list.
Oh, yeah, right, as amended.
So then
They're totally right.
that comes back to the initial.
Thank you, I've been hooped.
Maybe just read them out, and then we'll go from there.
Well, yeah, so it would be, okay, I'd be on the South Peace Synergy Tourism, PRD Director, Library, Regional Airport, Governance, NDIT, Chamber of Commerce, and YMCA. Councillor Johnston would be School and Education Alternate, Museum, Post Office, Food Bank Alternate, and NDIT Alternate. Councillor Rabble would be Alaska Highway Society, Cemetery, Northern Heritage Trails Society, School and Education. Councillor Wall would be RCLC, Site C, South Peace Health Society, Seniors, RCMP and Fire Department. Councillor Woodall would be Food Bank, PRD Alternate, Legion, Oil and Gas, Courtesy Matters. I'd like to put the motion on the floor that we accept the portfolios as amended with the addition of the Chambers and YMCA. Seconded by Councillor Rabble. Any other discussion about the portfolios? All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you very much. Okay, now we're going to look at the internal committees. So, my understanding, just so we're clear, is Councillor Wall, you would like to do public safety and crime prevention as the primary, and the alternate as municipal infrastructure and planning.
Correct.
Councillor Rabble, you would like to do municipal infrastructure and planning primary, and recreation and special events alternate.
Yes.
Okay. Any other concern regarding the internal committees? Councillor Rabble?
Would this go to would we now develop terms of reference for each committee and then have a schedule for the meetings? How would we like to proceed with this?
Well, so there's like a whole step moving forward. So our ECDEV is currently working on a couple of plans that this might actually tie into, as well as our asset management plan. So there are a few major overlying plans that need to be complete once we begin building these. Once those plans are complete by our ECDEV, then we kind of need to go out and seek the community interest, and from my understanding,
We'll have to draft guidelines
yeah.
regarding each community scope and rational activity.
There you go. So I think we got to develop those plans, and then in terms of reference or committee scope, or
So then my assumption would be council accepts the creation of these 3 internal committees, then we reach out to the public, then we develop terms of reference incorporating the work done by the ECDEV officer.
Those 2 activities actually Councilor can have Nathan function.
okay. Any other questions? Councillor Wall?
How would voting work with these committees?
That'd be in the terms.
That would all be part of the terms of reference that would be developed.
I was thinking because they each have 2, so I'm like, what if it's a tie? Then everything fails.
Well, there will be
No.
a staff representative on each
Yeah.
committee as well as a public interest representative.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yes.
What's public interest first?
Member of the general
Member of
public.
the general
Oh, perfect.
Member of the general public.
Any other discussion? All right, I make the motion that staff begin developing these internal committees and place the positions as stated in the chart. No, because we amended it and then we unamended it. Is it still amended? Yeah,
Still one original amendment.
Yeah.
For respectively.
as
primary
amended
internal
regarding
committees.
Councillor Wall and Councillor
Yes.
Rabble. Okay, can I get a seconder on that? Do I need?
To accept it as amended?
Yes. Yeah, Councillor Rabble seconds. Okay, so it would be as amended as I stated before, where Wall and Rabble are switching. Wall is public safety and crime prevention, and Rabble is municipal infrastructure and planning. And then the alternate is Wall is municipal infrastructure and planning, and Rabble's alternate is recreation and special events. All those in favor? And that is carried. Wonderful, thank you. Does that work, Mr. Smolsky?
That's,
It does, okay.
we're success.
Uh-huh. Voila! Yes, Councilor Ross.
The last hanging piece is the letters for the portfolio to confirm us as liaisons. How should we go about developing those letters?
Off you go, Mr. Smolsky, give us your
Administration
2.0.
can take lead on drafting templates, send them for each respective member of public office's review, and then we can go through the process of sending out those communications as well.
Would that require direction from council?
It would require a motion to direct that.
If I may have the privilege, I put the motion on the floor to direct staff to develop letters to be sent to respective council portfolios to confirm that council member as a liaison to that board and or committee.
Seconded by Councilor Wall, thank you. Councilor Wall?
May I make an amendment regarding
Nay.
council portfolios and committees?
Sorry?
Instead of just portfolios and committees. So that we're formally appointed to both.
So you're just adding the word committees to this?
Yes.
Are we dying on the committee hill?
I am confused by your motion.
Your motion was to basically have us given a mandate letter in a roundabout way for council portfolios, correct?
This body is granting us the privilege of being liaisons to these portfolios and committees.
Yes, but also providing us, so portfolios and committees.
You missed the word
You
committees.
didn't say committees, you said portfolios.
Whatever you see fit. If you have spotted an error in my wording, I appreciate your suggestion.
Are you accepting the amendment as portfolios and committees?
If you deem it fit, yes.
You just write the word committees in?
Easy amendment.
I'll second that.
Perfect. Okay, all those in favor on the amendment?
Usually I'm the stickler.
And that's carried. Okay, so, Mr. Smolsky, when you're all done making the, writing up the motion, can you read it to me? I know I can do this too.
Absolutely. So motion will be for staff to develop portfolio and committee letters to go out on behalf of respective members of BOPC public office to begin the process of communication for committee assignment.
Perfect. Just stop making these so wordy. You're killing this format.
Work through it. Work through it.
Okay, sound good?
Will it say mandate letter on it?
It's not a
I
mandate.
don't think we're at that step yet.
No, it's not a mandate letter. Okay, I'm gonna call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried.
What if we voted opposed? Technically, we didn't vote on the amendment before we voted.
Yes, we did vote on the amendment.
We did.
You're killing me, man. Okay, 8.3. That's on there twice. Oh.
No, the council reviews and ratifies the following documents with signatory authorization.
Okay.
Young Life, Dawson Creek, unappropriated funds, transfer policy, flag policy, and SPARC accessibility grant resolution.
Okay, seconded by Councilor Woodall. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, do I need to sign these?
Yes, please.
Oh. Oh, God. I don't. They haven't said yes yet. Anyway. Okay, that was seconded by Councilor Woodall. Any I need to go home. Any discussion regarding those documents for ratification and final review? Comments? No, we're all good. All those in favor of me signing them? Okay, we're all good.
Interesting, we've just never had it in this format. Usually it just disappears and goes somewhere and we don't see them again.
This is best practice for administration for follow-up on council direction and activity.
Usually it just disappears. Usually it just ends up down the road
It doesn't,
somewhere.
it never disappeared, it just went to the counter over there and we signed it over there, off camera. That's all it's up.
It's pretty cool though.
Although I do like the transparency.
It's great, I love it this way.
Does that mean we can publish the signed versions of these things? There's a lot of documents that are the unsigned version.
No, these would be the ratified and sealed versions that would be posted.
Here, hand that down the line. There we go.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to 8.4.
2025 council meeting schedule, report and review of option number 1 and 2. Recommendation that council reviews and adopts the 2025 council meeting schedule, option 1 with committee of the whole meetings and regular council meetings included.
Would you still like to second that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, yes, so we'll see through conversation, we had talked about having committee of the whole meetings. Mr. Svolsky has really talked about the balance that is created through committee of the whole meeting. So basically, we would still have 2 meetings a month. It's just the first meeting would be the committee of the whole meeting where we're allowed to have that really open and broad discussion. And then the following meeting after that would then be where we have the council meeting and we're voting. And so what the committee of the whole meeting does, it just makes it so that during our regular council meeting, we're not really having long debates about the topics. We're doing that at the committee of the whole meeting. It streamlines our regular council meetings. So we're still having debate, but we're literally having a meeting dedicated completely to debate.
But no decisions.
Yes. Councillor Wall? No? Rabble? No?
Third one?
If you want to call me John.
You looked at him and said my name, my hand was up.
I know she was looking at me and said your name.
You're first.
So, I really appreciate this committee of the whole schedule. I looked at it, and what I like about it is at times this board tends to get passionate about things and be quite passionate about things. And what this allows for us to, have those discussions, have those spirited debates, and then be able to take some calm, reflective, time and actually think through it for governance and making decisions. I think it's a good idea. We're not making rash decisions. It comes back to, when we're working with a consultant, better our governance, right? Making those decisions, making sure that we're hitting the right steps and we're not putting the cart before the horse. So I really appreciate this layout because I think this gives us a time to have those spirited debates and then have that calm time to reflect on it. My only concern with the schedule is if we do have something that comes up that's, say, time sensitive, because things pop up that are beyond your control for time sensitivity, how would this affect if we needed to, say, pass something on the first Wednesday of each month or had something come up that needed to be passed? Would we do a committee of the whole meeting and then have a special meeting afterwards and wait notice if it's an emergency thing, or would there be generally enough time to give notice that we're going to have a committee of the whole followed by a short council meeting?
We would have an option there. So we would always have the ability to piggyback a committee of the whole meeting, a regular council meeting on top of a committee of the whole meeting, but with special notice of more than 24 hours. But predominantly this would be the requirement of an additional council meeting.
A special meeting.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Councillor Wall?
Yeah, no, that's good.
Councillor Wall?
So, I believe 2 things.
Mm-hmm.
For the option on the bottom of the page here, I'm a little bit confused by this document, but that might just be me. So for the option 1 at the top, we have committee of the whole meetings, and then we'd be moving the 3rd Wednesday council meeting to the 4th Wednesday
Correct.
of the month.
Correct.
So that we would have a meeting on the 1st Wednesday, committee of the whole meeting on the 2nd Wednesday, and nothing on the 3rd Wednesday, and then a meeting on the 4th.
No, it will still be 2 meetings a month.
Yeah.
2 meetings a month. It would
So
just
it'd be the
different.
2nd Wednesday and the 4th.
We make the 2nd Wednesday, the 4th Wednesday of every month.
So
The
it's
2nd
the
Wednesday of
1st
every
and the
month would be
3rd.
the council meeting, 4th Wednesday of every month would be this. This is the alternate suggestion.
So we'd have but a committee of the whole meeting isn't a council meeting.
No, it's a committee of the whole meeting.
Informal discussion platform, an environment for interchange, communication, and dialogue on the pressing issues. And then when we get to regular council meetings, that's to move information and items.
So we theoretically don't have marathon meetings anymore.
So we basically cut our number of actual meetings in half.
No, we'd still have ultimately the same amount of meetings.
It's just it would be half committee of the whole meeting and half, like, a committee of the whole meeting is still recognized by the community charter, it's recognized by the provincial government. It is a meeting of council. It's just at a committee of the whole meeting, you are having that open debate. And then at the regular council meeting, that's when you're moving business. Where what we've been doing for the past 2 years is we've been kind of doing like a committee of the whole within our meetings, we're having these long drawn out debates where normally your regular meeting is for moving business. There's not a ton of discussion.
And we're sending a lot of stuff back to staff.
Yeah.
Back to the next meeting, so this gives us that option to go through a wordsmith it and pick it apart, send it back to staff for ratification, then bring it back.
And then
to
move it,
for-
yeah.
Additional scope, additional reports, request for more additional information.
Okay, this makes a lot of sense.
And if you look in the report, it actually says that it would, that this would streamline staff's time and minimal impact on the budget, and it would actually streamline staff's time because then it's less wasted effort on their part. They have clearer direction from us on what we want done.
Councillor Wong?
That being said, I'm in favor of option 1 with 2 minor amendments.
Okay.
1, a council meeting occurring on December 23rd might not be the smartest move.
Okay.
And the other one is we would end up with a council meeting in the middle of UBCM.
Yeah, but we usually do, we just change it.
But I think your concern is that we won't be having as many like regular meetings, is what you're.
Yeah, so changing it or amending it or whatever going forward with fewer regular meetings.
Are those council meetings it hits, or is it committee of the whole
It's
meetings?
council meeting it is.
Yeah, but in those cases, we could move the council meeting, could we not, to the committee of the whole meeting? Or after the committee of the whole meeting, or an alternate date?
Alternate date would be the ideal solution.
So you go for those 2 weeks instead of doing it the fourth, we do it on the third.
And all it's required is just at least 24 hours notice of that changed venue and date.
Okay, so I'll make the motion to accept option 1
Okay.
with the amendment of removing December 23rd.
I'll second that option.
Okay, that's been seconded. Discussion?
I would actually prefer the first Wednesday, third Wednesday thing, except cow first and regular second, right? I would just take the second table and change your headers. I'd rather just keep it with the first Wednesday, third Wednesday than second Wednesday, fourth Wednesday, preferably.
So is there a reason why you for committee of the whole, you went second Wednesday, fourth Wednesday? Is it so that like you have time to sort of gather stuff throughout?
Mostly for gathering information and scope,
Yeah.
as well as trying to avoid staff holidays and layover. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I kind of figured there was a reason that you.
Most stats happen on the first Monday, and then the staff come in on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And
And you
then
don't have time.
Well, for example, like this year, we have New Year's happening on a Wednesday.
Mhm.
That stat would affect our first regular council meeting procedures.
Yeah.
So, as outlined in our previous council procedure bylaw 992, previous precedent has set that there would only be usually one regular council meeting in January where staff falls on Wednesday. So this was just to make sure that business still moves in a orderly fashion. We don't necessarily fall off momentum on strategic goals or direction that is outlined in a regular council meeting. And ultimately making sure that business still moves during the summer months. Previous precedent also set that I believe there's only one regular council meeting in the months of July and August. This would include that we have a regular meeting schedule to meet the action items that are required.
yeah, it's kind of strange only having one meeting when all the work's actually getting done.
Because unfortunately, there is no downtime in municipal government anymore. 10, 15 years ago, there was a time where you had slow and, let's just say, seasons that had a lack of pace. Every season we work with now, regardless if it's summer, winter, fall, spring, we have deadlines that have to be met. There's an increasing scope and requirement of meeting those deadlines. So we wanted to make sure that as a collective unit, that these items still do progress.
Councillor Ramos?
So decisions, instead of happening 2 meetings per month, it's going to be 1 meeting per month. But admittedly, we would get the debate out of the way because I find that we have really good, strong debate. But then there's no time to ruminate before
No.
making a decision, and then bam, we're into a decision, and then usually we're kind of trying to backpedal the next time, and then that's a bit too confusing. So I think the learning beforehand, the discussion, the rumination, then the decision. That actually might work. I think we could try it out. It's enabled by our bylaw. We don't have to change anything except how we lay out the schedule. We don't have to do anything fancy to do it the second, fourth, right? It's just simply how we declare notice, right?
It's just a clerical change on staff and administration's perspective.
And then the additional pieces, committee of the whole would still be televised or recorded or whatnot, right?
Yeah.
So that public could still see it and see the debate and see how we arrived at decisions. So therefore, it's just kind of changing the format a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think it's something to try.
Yeah.
Why not?
I'm really into it because right now I go from council meetings that run till 11 p.m. and then Thursday I have to start my PRD meeting. And sometimes when we have a really long, heavy council meetings, I find that Thursday morning I'm a bit slow. I'm gonna be honest, but this would actually stagger them where I have one of those big meetings a week, which would work great for me.
And about 85% of jurisdictions across the country do follow this format of having a committee of the whole schedule as well as a regular council schedule.
My next question would be, why are meetings on Wednesdays? Because if we're changing it, why is it right in the middle of the week? Would it make more sense for staff to have it at the end of the week? Or at the beginning of the week?
Well, the biggest thing is I can definitely tell you from my period of time where I was sort of doing a lot of minutes and note taking, and it's easier to get that work done before the weekend because if you go home on the Friday, you're just going to forget it all by the Monday, and if you don't get it done, well, then you're working late, right? So when we have these council meetings, it gives staff a chance to catalog the information while it's still fresh. Where if we suddenly did them on like a Thursday, we don't have a system like the PRD does where they're like
Or
live.
Tuesday, hypothetically,
Well, as administrator, I would like to divulge a point of interest. In a previous jurisdiction that I had served as a CAO and municipal administrator, we had procedural bylaws stating council proceedings were scheduled for respective Tuesdays. All information and agenda packages would have to be prepped, developed, and published by Friday. Within our council procedure bylaw here at Scoopy, we have that additional buffer period where publishing does not have to happen until Monday afternoon preceding the meetings. So if you have a late agenda item, you can fit it in. If something springs up over the course of review, when respective members of public office can look at the package, say, over the course of the weekend. Then get back to the administrator, let us know that these changes need to reflect what's going out to the public package, but rather than having to do that through a late notice item.
That is super handy because we do that a lot.
Yes, it's a nice little administrative practice to have in your cachet when you are developing these communication items.
Council.
I'm not suggesting it be changed, I'm just saying, if we're changing it,
Yeah.
let's think about everything, right?
Yeah.
Because if we're gonna do it, let's do it once and be done with it.
Well, later tonight, theoretically, we're amending times too.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion? I'm going to call the question then. All those in favor of option number 1
With the amendment.
with the amendment? And that passes. Thank you very much. Okay.
Let's try it.
All right. New business. None. Correspondence. There's only one thing under correspondence. Huh? All right. 10.1, the council accepts the bylaw officer's report for information. Seconded by Councillor Woodall. Any discussion? All those in favor? And that is carried. Wonderful, thank you. Okay. You seem making the old face.
Just one thing, I guess it kind of relates back to the bylaw officer's report. Has it been published recently? I don't know if it has or not. What the snow clearing bylaws are for Pouce Coupe?
I'll have to follow up on that, Councillor, respectively. Under my
Just as a refresher.
timeline of oversight, I'm not too familiar with that communication going out, but it's something that we can definitely follow up on.
What communication is this, sorry?
Well, on the bylaw officer's report, one of the main items on it was some snow removal issues. So just a reminder, I think, to everybody. I know it usually goes out, but the snow's only showing up the last month and a bit, so.
I can follow up and make sure that we do have that communication go out in the your definitive timeline.
Do you need a motion for that, for direction?
I think so.
That was the only thing, sorry, for resident. Bit of a late thought.
All right. Moving on to bylaws. 12.1 recommendation.
Appointment of officers, statutory officers, and signatory authorities, bylaw 1059, second reading and third reading. Recommendation that council motions to adopt appointment of officers, statutory officers, and signing authorities by bylaw law 105, second and third readings.
Is there any seconder? Seconded by Councillor Wall. Discussion? Councillor Rabble?
So this obviously was the first reading last time. It's kind of linking a few things together. You had said, it said previously that this hadn't been updated, but it's also bringing it together. Because there's still the purchasing policy that's in effect, and these numbers coincide with that purchasing policy, and they work in tandem together. The other question, though, is in regards to village signers, because it says, section 6, designated signing authorities. Once upon a time, way back 2 years ago, we had members of this body be signers, and I'm not saying that in here.
That was the amendment we made for mayor designate, and that was included.
So mayor designate assumes it,
Mhm.
and they assume signing authority as soon as they become mayor designate so that they can act on behalf of the village.
Correct.
And that's on a rotating schedule based off of what factors? Like, is it that rotation of last name? Because I'm seeing, if I may, just essentially what determines that.
So that's a schedule that we've just,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it was ever.
It's one of those things that we've done just because that's.
Yeah.
It's set its precedent in previous
Yeah.
administrations and
It
previous
existed
towns.
before we came along.
Yes.
Yeah, it was long before us. I don't know. He runs on a rotating schedule. I know right now it's Councillor Whittle until January, and then it becomes Councillor. Does it go up to Johnston and then down again?
Is this a rotating mayor?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rotating us.
It's in, it's alphabetical. It's,
Yeah.
yeah. So then we'll go Johnston and then Rabble and then Wall and then Whittle.
What establishes that? And the term?
That was just based off of previous precedent set by previous public office terms.
So-
So usually background, just respectively, councillor, there's 2 ways of designating a mayor alternate or a deputy mayor. Usually that can be done in some jurisdictions based off of the councillor that won the most votes and seats during the most recent municipal election, and then that is an assigned term for the course of the 4 years. Another option is the rotating deputy mayor schedule, and I guess the rationale behind that is to just develop additional stockade and strength and skill set amongst the councillors. So.
Is there like, can I ask, is there a specific question that you're looking for? Because you're being very vague and it's killing me.
From my interpretation of the council procedure bylaw as it currently sits, this is the last meeting of December. December is when we decide the rotating schedule, which is linked with our portfolios. Kind of, it's like usually we do. Therefore, there's the necessity within this meeting to determine next year's schedule of the acting mayor.
Okay.
That's how it was determined previously.
Yes, okay, and so the.
Sorry, I don't mean to do the poetic runaround.
No.
That's the meat there.
Yeah, perfect. I love when you do the meat and potato stick. So it's gonna run on the same as it previously has, which is going in the alphabetical order. So next it will be Johnston, then it'll be you, then it'll be Wall, then it'll end with Councillor Whittle.
Okay.
That's the current schedule we are running on. If you would like to change it to, based on number of votes, or if you feel that, like, who's tallest to shortest, we could go.
I think he's in on that.
I don't think we're allowed to do this.
I don't know, man. Loudest,
There's
quietest.
options outlined in the community charter.
So I
just have a-
based off of either a rotating schedule or off of the won the most seats in the municipal election.
I've technically been the mayor every Christmas. Coming this Christmas, it'll be my 3rd Christmas as the acting mayor.
It's the only time I ever leave.
The previous mayor left for Mexico at the same time.
Yeah, so
I was the acting mayor then as well.
Yeah, but yeah, no, if there's like a specific thing that you would like to change, do you feel that
No.
oh, you're totally fine with it?
no. Do we require a motion to solidify that for 2025?
Oh, no.
It's included in the council procedure bylaw that will be review, I believe, for first reading here.
But 10.1 says annually in December, council must designate councillors on a rotating basis. If I may. We could just do a quick motion and then it's one and done. We've covered our bases.
I see. I get what your concern is. We've gotten there.
Could have just gotten to it, jeez.
No, really, just Councillor Ramble, off he goes.
Oh.
That'll stick.
Well,
That's the
realistically,
problem.
that'll still be covered within our council procedure bylaw, and with that being reviewed now, which is annually in December, I believe all bases will be covered.
Okay.
When this is done, no, it hasn't been adopted. Never mind, ignore me. See, my brain marbles. Okay, all right. Any other discussion regarding this bylaw? I need coffee. None? Okay, all those in favor? And that is carried. There we go. That's what I'm gonna go do when you guys all smoke your faces off. I'm making coffee.
Do we have to read it a third time?
No?
Third reading, yes.
Yeah, it was both. Okay, 12.2.
That council motion to adopt, what was the area of one? That council motion to adopt the council procedure bylaw 1060 for its first reading.
Oh, okay, I never mind.
That's good.
Okay, oh, can you read 12.2 again? You did it so swimmingly, I'll let you do it again.
Oh, okay, that means I messed up. Okay, the council procedure bylaw 1060 review option 1, including the COTW, and option 2, same procedures as before, but without this COTW, and only reflect the time change for 7:15 start time first reading. The recommendation is that council motion to adopt the council procedure bylaw 1060.
First reading.
First reading.
Can I get that sector? Sector by council. What I was looking for was you to basically say, yeah, council procedure bylaw number 1061 with option 1, the committee of the
Yeah.
whole, that reflects the time change of 7:15 start time first reading.
May I rescind my motion?
No. You figured it
It's
out.
not required.
We're totally there.
That's how usually.
Figures that motion's so much less wordy.
He totally.
I can work through that.
He totally knows. Yeah, he's totally good. But that's why I was like, you did such a good job. You should do it again. we
Way
were
too short and way too long.
we were getting there. Okay, and that was seconded by Councilor Woodall, right? Yeah. Okay. Any discussion regarding our council procedure bylaw? Yes.
I can't quite find it, but earlier I was reading in here regarding the when we received the agenda packages.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that's been changed from the Friday prior to the Monday of.
It's always been Monday.
We got it
Oh.
on Friday out because it was a courtesy from staff. They
Yes.
tried to get it to us before the weekend. That's
Yeah, we
always
will
something
need
to
to
do.
receive.
Okay.
Received it till that Monday because there was last minute changes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Is that so? Just the committee of the whole, or is the change in here, and the start time 7:15?
Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
There's no other change. Should we add land acknowledgement to the order of agenda?
That's part of your introduction. So the one thing I did notice in there is that it does give for the council meetings, do have an end time of 10 o'clock stated in there. And there isn't a designated end time for the COW meetings. So, which is fine, but theoretically that means that COW meeting without a designated end time, we could go till midnight with that and not
That's
have
because he
to-
knows that's when we are gonna go till
Yeah.
midnight.
Yeah, and usually with the cow meeting, you would try to avoid putting a designated end time.
Okay.
Just due to the fact that these conversations will be very informal, free-flowing, and organic. And you're going to be hashing a lot of indifference on
Oh,
policy.
he means they're gonna go
procedure.
on forever.
So that means they're.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, we're gonna get a lot more work done this way.
Yeah, we're also gonna be here till 2 o'clock in the morning debating where the I goes in the sentence.
But our regular council meeting should be, wrapped up within 45 minutes to an hour, because we're just moving items and processing.
We'll make up time at the end of the month.
We've got that on camera, but
45
Hold me
minutes.
to it. Hold me to it, Councilor.
Okay.
You don't want to make that promise.
Hopefully not opening up that open-ended can of worms.
how do we met Counselor?
I will make sure you never make it.
Councilor, you will effectively excel. You will excel on that platform.
48 minutes.
Okay, any other discussion regarding council procedure bylaws? I think, yeah, it looks, I said, you didn't really change anything, so other than adding in the committee of the whole and the start time. I definitely feel that, yeah, the 7:15 time will be easier because, again, you guys all work, you all have jobs, and you're very, very busy people. And I know for the past year, we've been starting a bit later and later because the roads are terrible, and the majority of you are driving out from Dawson out here, and I do worry about you on the road. So I'm happy to relieve some of that pressure by starting at 7:15 instead of 7. Yes, Councillor Wall.
And the other thing actually I like about this bylaw is I do like the clarification on the digital, or the remote
Remote meeting.
schedule on there,
Mhm.
and fleshing that out a little bit more.
Mhm.
Appreciate that.
We did try to streamline that a little bit, just so that there was a little bit more clarity in the language. We also added a update to the definition of public notice posting places. Before, this was only listed as a bulletin board or physically at the village office location. It does now refer to the village website, social media feeds, including on top of that, physically being posted here at the
Perfect.
municipal administrative building.
Perfect. You're about to die on the social media.
I'm a hell to die.
Don't do it.
What page was that referring to?
Don't tell him what
No,
to
no,
do.
it's
So we remind
It's noted.
Page 39, page 39.
that all social media directs people back to the website, which is the designated.
We one time had like an hour and a half debate. Do you have any idea what you've done?
And it was in more than one meeting.
Okay. Well, we do have committee of the whole meeting on January 8th.
Okay. Shoot. Yep.
I move to amend the definition of public notice posting places to refer only to the village village office location.
Are you a seconder? Seconded by Councilor Wall. Why do you do this to yourself?
Somebody wants to talk about it.
Okay. So, Councilor Wall. Woodall. What is wrong with me today? I know. Yeah.
All right, so just for clarification before we get into a 45-minute debate. So for clarification, with it being posted only on our website and publicly, that does not preclude staff from sharing the link from our website on our social media platforms. That, again, directs people back to the official record, which is our website. As per everything.
He's like, oh, I gotta make an amendment.
Oh, just correct me if I'm wrong, if we change this, then that debate we had 6 months ago that lasted multiple meetings, we need to go back and redefine that for all of our public notice stuff.
So the original intent in the past was because the newspaper folded, it was forced. Anyways, long story short, the newspaper ceased to exist very suddenly, and we didn't actually have a place to post because we had to post in 2 spots at the beginning of the charter. And so the village door, they counted, but then we also needed some other version, which technically the village voice counts, which we could include that as well. So we were relying on the village voice, but the publication's not as frequent and doesn't line up and all this good stuff. So the website, because we control the URL and we control what gets posted there, and it can be seen as legitimate as much as possible. Somebody could mask it and redirect you to different URLs. The concern with social media becoming an official public notice place is that there can be fakes, there can be masquerades, there can be other content. It is limited in access. It can require accounts. It's not the most publicly accessible format. And I think avoiding it completely is the best course of action, keeping it to traditional methods,
And then so
like the internet.
during our original debate regarding this topic, that's why it's listed as one of the 3, right? So it's not the only, it's social media and our website and our official building or billboard, right? So it's not the only. And I do understand your concern about social media, but it's not like we're not the first one to run this race, right? Everybody is using social media. Dawson Creek has actually increased their social media presence, and it's actually been really, really good for their communication with their community members. And so just taking into consideration, I understand your concern, but don't forget it's not our only, it's just one of the 3 options. Councillor Wong.
Two points. I think Councillor Ravel is trying to get at that social media isn't necessarily the most accessible, and shouldn't be the official form of, a Facebook post shouldn't be the official form of communication, right?
Yes.
From the municipality. So excluding social media from that keeps us in that realm of professionalism where, oh, I saw the village post this on Facebook, and it turns out to be a hoax or a fake account or something else, can't be construed as that is our official form of communication with the public. Now, removing social media from there does not prevent us from still posting it on social media, does it? So we can still post it on social media, it just won't be considered the official record of what's happening in the village. The same way as technically the video, like this video tonight, will be posted on YouTube. That is not the official record of this
No,
meeting.
it's not, correct.
Yes.
The minutes of the meeting are. So even though people might still access that on social media, making it the official kind of document holder of the village is kind of weird.
I see what you're saying, okay. My question to you then, Mr. Sabalski, and maybe Councilor Whittle can answer this one. When we debated this all those months ago, what did we change? We changed our posting?
No, to my recollection, what we kind of settled on was that we wouldn't post the actual documents to Facebook or to any of our other social media platforms. We would simply post a link on our social media that redirects people back, no different than what the village has been doing for all of their announcements. That redirects people back to the village's page. No different than when you click on our YouTube page to watch our videos, there's a link there that you can click on it that takes you back to the village's page to get the official record of the meetings with the minutes.
So, what was it that we were originally, why did this get brought up? It was brought up
Because,
because of our posting policy.
We had the change postal policy, Councilor also, because the newspaper went
Yeah.
away and we had to post in 2 different distinct places.
Yes.
So he's correct with everything he said, it's just at the time, where the social media came up in, and as long as, like, if I'm understanding staff correctly, if we remove social media from there, that doesn't preclude us from posting the link still to social media pages.
No, it doesn't, but I guess the advantage or the incentive of including social media in this is if you had a very pressing or time-sensitive public posting or notice that needed to go up for communication, and let's just say there were some parameters to being accessible or in the office physically, say it's a weekend, maybe it's an emergency response situation, website possibly crashes, it's best practice to not limit your options of what can be utilized as a medium for this process.
But it must be posted, so it must still be posted on the village office door. It
Absolutely.
must go on the website, and it must go on our social media.
Yes, it would be free.
So if one crashes, that still doesn't solve the problem, because
Well,
then
no,
we can't.
we would still have 2 overlaps with the community charter, so we would be effectively meeting those requirements.
Could someone theoretically decide they do not want to post it on the website, and then they don't, because there is Facebook and the door that also count? Is that
We
also
listed in
possible?
language as what would be the primary posting location, what would be the secondary, and what would be the tertiary.
You know what
That would be my recommendation.
You know what my concern is, I'm just gonna be honest, is that if we make this change by removing the social media from this procedure bylaw, that we're gonna have to edit that policy, because if I remember correctly, that policy was adopted 3-2. So 3 were in favor and 2 were opposed. So it was one of those very heated debates where it wasn't a unanimous, it was 3-2. And you know what? I want to look at the policy, in all honesty. Yeah.
So with this being first reading, right, where this all has come back to us numerous times, would it be possible to look at that policy and see what your recommendations are on it by, primary door, secondary, or primary door and website, secondary social media?
Absolutely.
And add to the bylaw that it must be posted in those 2 primary places.
Before posting it on.
Before posting it online, and which the staff I've noticed has been pretty good for a lot of stuff. It comes up on the website before it comes up on social media, and all the social media is literally just sharing the link.
Is there a time requirement to this bylaw, Mr. Sabalski?
Sooner rather than later.
That's what I
Perfect world, we would do 2 readings tonight. And then ultimately we would require a special meeting before January 8th, because January 8th would be leading into our first procession of a committee of the whole meeting, and this would have to be ratified before we get into committee of the whole. So we'd be looking at most likely a special committee meeting or a special council meeting January 7th, January 6th, maybe the preceding week.
Councilor Rebel?
We have to have multiple locations of posting. We don't have a newspaper anymore. We do have the Village Voice, but it depends on dispersal times and accessibility because it has to be a public-facing notice. I don't mean it to prohibit the Village from engaging on social media. Absolutely, people are very digitally minded nowadays. A lot of people get most of their information through these channels. But let's just say hypothetically, Bleep Bloop appears. It's a new website and everyone's engaging on it. And somebody creates something that says Village of Pooskoopy. And then they post a notice. It says social media feeds. What constitutes a social media feed? Is everything in existence? So the thing is, it's just, there's no way to contain that Pandora's box, right? To say that social media feeds presenting themselves as the Village of Pooskoopy can technically be taken as legitimate notice points, opens a lot of issues. I understand we could be specific about it, but then in 5 years there's going to be new stuff, right? Or they change their name again, or whatever, right? Like if we said, this and this company, they changed their name now. Like there are prominent ones that have changed their name. So what I'm getting at is, in this world where people do want it accessible online, I'm fine posting things online, but it should be the official place. It should still be in physical format for sure as a primary source. And then we can do it on the website as well to give digital accessibility because we have sole control over our website. Yes, we work with a contractor on it, but it's still ours, right? We still decently control the servers and whatnot. Anyways, but with social media, it's too malleable. It's too easy for it to be blocked, or you have to have an account, or there are different walls and barriers in its way. And then it's impossible to define because it's a constantly moving target as it develops and society changes over time. So yeah, I'm not opposed to social media. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm just opposed to the government or government agencies or entities utilizing it as an official means of communication. I don't think that's appropriate.
Councilor Whittle, I'm gonna, just before you speak, sorry. I am gonna be asking Mr. Cebulski to go find the posting policy because I would actually like to read it, because that will determine in what direction we should be moving forward with this. So can your question have it now, or can you wait?
What my question is with the bylaw, because I know this is a bylaw, this is time sensitive for the communication. But for the, I guess, kind of the middle of the road is, again, we got to have to again look at that policy. But could that be adjusted in policy that the links are to be shared on social media, and social media is only to be used as a last case alternative? And do that in policy, and which still allows us to, with the way this bylaw is written, it still allows us to use social media, but then it's then more governed by policy, because this allows us then to potentially get through first and second reading on this, keep this, because this is time sensitive, and then we amend a policy where we adjust the policy to direct staff on how it gets posted on the social media.
Thinking on my feed, Councillor, respectively, that would be a great suggestion on how we would go and augment the situation. Realistically, the administration's recommendation is we just need a third medium listed on there. That's the most important thing. So,
If the first two don't work, you have a third.
yeah, the substitute there could be the Village Voice, and make sure that's the third medium. We just need a third medium in case that we do, we're in an extreme situation and things are dire. So, if elimination of social media as an inclusion is the easiest practice, and we augment that through policy review, that would actually still move this item to the time that we're looking for, without needing additional review at this moment.
Yes, Councilor Wall.
So my major concern with social media being considered an official form of communication is, I'm sure we've all received a scam Facebook message or whatever, social media message, saying, looking like your friend or someone you know, asking you for something like money or whatever. What if someone goes on social media, creates a fake account as the Village of Pooskoopy, and then sends saying you're in arrears, and it's official they could perceive that as official communication between your house is going to go to tax sale. Meanwhile, it's some scammer in another country thinking it's actually the municipality, because that is an official form of communication.
Mr. Cebulski, can you read me the motion that's currently on the floor?
Motion on the floor is to accept Council Procedure Bylaw 1060 with review of option number 1 and reflecting the time change of 7:15. We had a subsequent motion from Councillor Rabble that was to move forward with adoption of this bylaw with amendment to remove inclusion of social media as an endorsed communication method of the municipality. Recommendation from administration would be we can move forward with that amendment as presented by Councillor Rabble, as presented, and the easiest course of action here would just be to remove the social media mention and just include a third medium, and that third medium could be our newsletter. That's really the recourse administration is looking for.
But our newsletter doesn't go out monthly.
That is a little bit of an administrative challenge and clerical challenge.
That's the problem. That's why we couldn't use it before.
Mm-hmm.
That's why that policy was such a debated item. We were not able to use the Village Voice because it goes out. It doesn't even have a regular schedule. Sometimes it's every 2 months, sometimes it's every 3 months, sometimes it's.
Then we publish it.
And we.
Well, administratively, we can start including a newsletter monthly, and then that would be the recourse that would be required to make sure that all bases are covered.
I think the reason why they have not done a newsletter monthly is due to capacity. I really want to look at that policy. This was debated for like weeks. I mean, we're going to take a break. We'll find that policy, please.
Sure.
And then that will kind of help.
Fucking midnight. I'm
Maybe.
over smoke.
Smoke now or forever regret it.
Forever.
In the charter, there are legal mechanisms. Right? There's notice, there's newspaper, there are like listed things. So we just pick 3 and go from there, right? If you're.
Yeah.
Email is an official form of communication.
No, it's not.
That's what we use.
Then technically all those people for all those portfolios run, we need to send them all registered letters if email is not an official form of
We
communication.
didn't say registered letter either. It has to be on the website. Oh yeah, I know. It gets down to quite the wormhole.
It becomes very, very complicated very fast.
Yep.
I see where everyone's coming from
I
on this.
should have brought my copy of the charter.
Of the community charter.
Yeah.
You have in the office.
You can just pull it up, can't you?
Using
You have a cell phone.
using the internet?
Using the internet. It's not on social
I clutched
media.
it.
The scammer
It's not on social media, you're good.
I don't want to sound like somebody who's freaked out by social media. My goal was actually to shut my mouth this meeting, by the way.
Oh no. Yeah, that's. Hey, well, just deal with it on the fly, right? What's making good for this
Policy never got
That is
finished.
correct.
She never completed it.
No. Policy has been ratified, no draft completed.
Thank you, that's all I wanted to know. Okay, so, opening our meeting, sorry about that, Councilor Rebel. For October 18th, we're having a lot of breaks. Okay, the policy I was referring to never actually got ratified, so we don't have to worry about it. I think what we should do, based off the information that I've seen within the community charter and the fact that we don't have a policy that this could potentially affect, is I think we should defeat the motion on the floor by Councilor Rebel, and we should make another motion, which is under the recommendation of Mr. Sobolski, that really shows those primary, secondary, and kind of like worst case scenario. Posting places.
If both other means
Yes.
are, if one of the other means is inaccessible
Yes.
or unavailable.
So then it's still a third option, but it's not our main option. It's our, if we're down to our last dollar and something's wrong, we have to, it's on there.
So,
Yes.
if I may, I rescind my motion because it only provides two options.
Okay.
So I rescind my motion that I had made regarding striking social media, because
Okay.
we need to find an alternative that provides 3 or more.
Okay, sounds good. Councilor Wall?
I'll make the motion to adopt council procedure bylaw 1060 for its first reading with the amendment regarding official forms of communication being the village website and posted on the village office door as a primary form of communication, and with social media being considered a secondary form of communication without the restriction of village staff being able to post information about the village on the village social media. It just
So
won't be,
this in no way restricts them.
it does not restrict them, it just won't be considered an official form of communication unless one of those first two forms of communication is for some reason unavailable to be used.
Okay, do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councilor Whittle. Discussion, Councilor Whittle.
So, biggest concern is, will this amendment affect the timeline that staff's looking for to get this policy done so that we stay within our timeline?
If we would need
This
it-
is the best.
This is the best case scenario. If we were looking at like going back to the drawing table and drafting a policy and then ratifying the bylaw for second and third reading after that, we would be looking at the timeline for implementing our CAL meetings to be effective.
That was the biggest thing, as long as this keeps us on track, because we're making some good momentum.
Okay.
I propose a friendly amendment to add the village voice as an additional primary method as well. Although it might not be as frequent, it can exist as an additional
As
method.
a primary option,
No,
secondary.
no, no, hang on, hold. We cannot use the village voice because it is not consistent. We cannot make it a monthly thing due to capacity. So if we were to list it, it would require us making it a monthly.
Consistent to
Yes.
meet the community charter
And we just
threshold.
can't.
I do not accept the friendly amendment.
Thank you.
I suggested it merely. I
No,
didn't.
Okay.
There's no motion on the floor.
It wasn't really a friendly, it wasn't really?
Yeah, so that's the only thing.
Okay.
Because we did look at doing that before, and we were not able to. So our primary would be our website and our door, and our secondary, in absolute case of emergency, would be social media, and that's only if those other two options are not available. Right, and we still use social media, it just wouldn't be our technical record. So it would still be as staff are currently doing it, which is where they can post a link that takes people to the website, which is what they have been doing. It's been working quite well.
Do we have a communications policy?
Nope, we just looked for it.
So, then, if I may, if we were to hypothetically in the future develop a communications policy, we could list what are appropriate social media
Yes.
means of communication.
And that's probably a very good idea to do. I would definitely suggest that after we're done dealing with this, that's a motion that this council makes. Be very happy. Councillor Wall? No? Woodall? Dude, what is with me tonight? You know what? I've been sick for like a week.
So my question to staff is, when and if this passes first reading, are you interested, or does staff, would you like this to have a second reading tonight?
I would encourage a second reading tonight, otherwise the second reading would have to be included upon that special council meeting in early January.
So with that being said, we're pretty much finished the debate on what we're going to tweak.
Yeah, so what we can do is we can vote on the current motion, and then a motion can be made for second reading. And we can vote.
Or can we make the motion, do an amendment to the motion that this counts as first and second reading?
If you'd like to
Yeah,
make.
so I'll make the motion that this counts as first and second reading.
Okay. Okay, a seconder on that motion? Seconded by Councilor Wall.
With the amendment.
Well, sorry, seconder on the amendment, sorry.
We need to vote on the amendment of the
Yes.
motion.
All those in favor of the amendment? Perfect, that's carried. He is scribbling away.
This is gonna be interesting to put in the minutes, eh?
It's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah.
All right, so
Well, just for clarification, this
Yeah.
is on that the first most altered version versus essentially just the second one, which is just changing times. This is the first one, which
This is including the change in times, this is including
Committee of the whole.
the committee of the whole, it's including the date changes, it's including the
Definition change.
definition changes regarding our official forms of communication. So it has 4 amendments.
Okay, I'm gonna call the question then. All those in favor? All those opposed? Knew he was gonna do that.
It's all over you.
what? Sorry.
Councillor Rebel, would you like to post notice?
Yes. All right.
Wonderful. Okay, yes, Councillor Wall?
I'm making a motion.
Yeah, for the communications thing, thank you.
No, I have 2 motions to make.
There's still a motion on the table to copy this as a first and second.
Didn't we just do that?
But
That was the amendment.
changes.
Amendment changes.
We adopt the amendment changes, now we have to adopt the amendment change.
Oh.
And then it comes to the wall.
And then I have 2 motions to make. Oh, no, 1 motion.
Okay. Calling the question on that, all those in favor of first and second reading? And that is carried.
Oh,
Oh,
we voted on that.
see?
No, we just voted on the
Sometimes they're
amendment.
up and down that we
We
did not
voted
vote
on all
on.
the amendments, those have passed, now we voted to make this first and second reading.
So you
that's
voted opposed
passed.
to your own amendment, and then I voted in favor of the reading.
And now we're at the point where you can do.
We're all good. Okay, what's your next motion, Councilor Wall?
My next motion is that council directs staff to begin the preliminary work on a communication policy.
Are you a seconder? Well, I'll second that. I can do that.
No, we just did.
You just did.
No, that was an amendment to the.
No.
There is no voting record on.
No, that's an amendment to the motion to make it first and second reading, now we have to vote on the amendment.
So all I really have is just a mover on that right now, and that's Councilor Rule.
For what are we voting with?
That is for the amended first and second reading.
We already voted on
Yeah,
it.
we voted on that, that was approved.
And then we just finished approving first and second reading.
No.
We just, yes, we
Yes,
did,
we
we
did.
just did that.
No, we voted to make the amendment to the recommendation that this is first and second reading. So now the amendment reads that this is first and second reading, now we actually have to pass the
Motion for first and second reading.
the vote. We actually physically have to pass the bill, we passed the.
Just do it again, and if we watch the video and we voted on it and it passes twice, what's the biggie?
So here, I'll make the final recommendation, so then we can vote on this. So the council motions to adopt the council procedures bylaw 60 first and second read.
We just did that.
No, we have adopted.
It's fine, now you're the seconder. Let's just keep voting on this all night. It's perfect. Discussion? I'm gonna call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed?
Opposed.
You'd like your opposed noted? You literally have Councilor Rebel voting opposed, voting in favor, voting opposed, because we voted on it so many times.
I voted in favor of it being
So,
first and second
Just for
reading.
clarification from staff, the first vote we did was voting all the amendments that passed. The second vote we did was to add first and second reading to the
agenda.
motion.
To the
to the
motion,
agenda.
which I
That
voted in
passed, and then
favor.
what we just did was we just passed the first and second reading of
I
it.
don't
There's
think
layers to it, that is correct.
I do not say this very
Just
often,
be sick and bang your.
but I'm on the mayor's side. Right on this one.
It's fine, it's fine.
The
Either
record
way,
and staff have
Okay.
it away.
The record is as expressed by Councilor Woodall.
Okay, so now it's passed.
Yes.
I am now making a motion
yeah,
to direct, my motion is to direct staff to, well, we have to
So we
begin
started it. We've already started it.
to draft a communications policy for the village of Pooskoopi.
seconded by Councilor Woodall. He loves it so much, he seconded it.
Yeah, I'll second it, but I want to speak on it. We've already started the draft process, have we not? It's just, it made it to the staff realm, and due to staffing changes, it kind of just stalled out.
No, we literally can't even find it.
There's no file.
There's no
Nothing.
file of it.
No.
So you're telling me for the 4.5 hours we sat here and debated and discussed all that, there's no, and I know it's not on you, by the way.
There's no follow-up on that.
No.
There's no follow-up from that at all.
No. I know, I was just surprised that you were.
If I may,
Yes, Councilor Rebel?
although communication policy will be important eventually in the future, is it the priority right now?
It's something we should, for best practice, it's something we should
Yeah,
have.
something we should
It
definitely.
doesn't need to be a priority to be done in January, but if it comes back.
It sounds like a good thing for the cow meetings.
Yes.
And I think it will be further discussion to be included as an item on January 8th.
Sounds good to me.
Give it to the council.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? And that's unanimous.
Throw my head around, sure.
Yes, throw something in a minute. Okay. Is that it?
Hey, just because.
Do I have another motion to make?
I don't know, you said two.
Well, because the other one was gonna be to adopt the full motion of the second.
I hadn't voted on it.
Dear Lord.
No, then we voted on it,
Can we
and
move past the subject? It's hurting my brain. The poor brain. Okay, we're gonna move on to administrative reports, 3.1 CAO report. Give us the lowdown, Mr. Slade.
Actually, hang on before you make the motion that the meeting continues after 9 o'clock.
Oh, seconded by Councilor Wall.
you've been saying my name all night.
All those in favor of continuing past 9 PM? All those opposed? No. Would you like your opposed noted, Councilor Whittle?
Nope. Councilor Rattles we debated it.
Okay,
So I appreciate your own worship.
Hear what?
no worries.
All right, so included from pages 69 to 72 does outline CAO and administration activities from December 4th to December 15th. First section does outline some recommendations for approving policies, which already have been completed in the course of today's proceedings. We do have some feedback on bylaw 1059, which is the appointment of statutory and signatory officers. Again, that was ratified for first and our second reading in today's scheduled agenda. We do have a little breakdown of committee portfolios again, and we had some follow-up regarding that decision-making process. We do have a plan for utility rate increases for an upcoming 10.76% water rate increase, and then the corresponding village adjustments. We do have the initial review of implementing a consolidated fees user schedule, as aforementioned in the previous council proceedings. Pretty much the justification behind that practice is to, rather than having to review 7 to 10 user fee schedules that are included in a myriad of bylaws, we have a consolidated user fee schedule. So we will have the drafted work hopefully included for the January 8th COW meeting. Yes, Councilor, sorry about that.
That's good. And this is to keep us in line with the city of Dawson Creek's rate increase.
Did you say 10.76?
Yes. So
That
it
is
is.
nine.
It was an 8.75% service rate increase on top of their compounded service rate increase that happens annually, which is 2%. So it's a collective 10.76%.
And that's a cost that the village cannot control, that was forced on us by our water supplier.
Unfortunately, but again, we do have to remember that there is a lot of benefits to this agreement. You know, we're not necessarily taking on the asset management requirements of a wastewater treatment plant or a water treatment plant. We're not having to take on the staffing overhead requirements. I know from just being a municipal administrator for almost 3 years now, the most sought after position in any municipality is a wastewater level ticket. If you have your level 2, level 3, level 4, this is an issue municipalities are dealing with all across the country because of just skill set. It's hard to attain these certifications, and once you get them, everyone wants you.
Don't we have a wastewater facility? Isn't that a lagoon?
It is, but it's not necessarily a treatment facility. It's a controlled treatment facility in the sense that it's an outdoor, natural, organic biosphere, but it isn't necessarily an in-house water treatment plant.
Mr. Cebulski, are we going to be putting, I'm assuming that Dawson Creek is going to be drafting something explaining to their residents that there's going to be a water increase or a fee increase to the water rate.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to be sharing that and letting our community members know?
Correct.
Because
We will have our own communication that will be corresponding from that with outlined potential next steps.
okay, and you're going to make it very clear in that notice that we're not making any money off this. This is directly, like, they've raised it here, we've had to raise it there to match. We're not making any money.
It's an at-cost service. This
Yes.
is an at-cost service.
Okay, and you're going to be posting that on our website and social media. And,
Correct.
is there a way that we could also put a flyer out on the next water bill, letting
Absolutely.
people know, please?
We can put a little notice.
Do you need a motion put forward for you to put a notice within the water bill?
No.
You could please do that.
Absolutely.
Providing that breakdown and that understanding. The more information that we get out and that the residents understand we are not using this as a money-making, we are not in control of this rate or the raises
This
that
is
go
not a
with it.
revenue generator.
That would be perfect. Thank you. Yes, Councilor Ball.
When do we know if if the city of Dawson Creek is releasing a public statement about that water increase?
They already have. I believe there was a report issued last week or 2 weeks ago.
Can we include that report in the flyer that's going out to all the residents to show that it's really not us?
But best practice is I'd have to clear that with administration of the respective municipality. If we don't necessarily have a joint agreement on that, we would have our own respective.
They are pushing an additional cost onto us.
And make sure it's not just us, it's right across the board. Like even like I have to hot
The
water.
PRD.
They're increasing the water rates for everyone, and we have a municipality and the our sewer fees aren't going up.
Their service fees for the city of Dawson Creek and the water rates are going up, which impacts.
Yeah, so the water rates are going up, the service fees are going up, but it is the city of Dawson Creek that's doing that, it isn't us. So, but we are stuck having to get our water from them. That being said, why can't we just include their notice of that increase in with our little blurb explanation about how this isn't us?
I think it would be better for staff, rather than just printing off their notice and attaching
communicate
it,
that beforehand.
is taking the information that Dawson Creek has provided and working it into our own notice, right? So then it's not coming directly from Dawson Creek, no, but their notices are publicly posted. And the information that we would gather from the information that Dawson Creek has put out would then be folded into our own Pouce-Coupe report.
Can we add in there though that if you have concerns or questions regarding this rate increase, call, and it's the city of Dawson Creek number for them to phone?
That wouldn't be appropriate. I would not recommend that.
Well, it is their increase.
But it's a joint service agreement. We have to remember that. It takes two parties to make this happen.
I don't think we agreed to a 10% increase, did we?
Well, no, but we also don't take on the overhead requirements and responsibilities of the assets and the infrastructure.
So they're just raising
and the
costs
staffing.
for the sake of raising costs, not providing.
I think there's more to it, but I think that's debate for another day because it's a can of worms. And there's not a whole lot we can really do about it. I think this is another thing that would be good to bring back at a CAL meeting for when it comes back for renegotiation.
Well, I'm just saying, this is Dawson Creek's doing, we should make it very clear that this is Dawson Creek's doing and Dawson Creek's doing alone.
I know, but at the end of the day, it's not beneficial for us to sort of do the old finger pointing thing, and that we have no control over it. And while I'm as concerned as you are, people are strapped, they're going through a difficult time, and I absolutely, those are all the concerns I expressed to Mr. Cebulski when we had this meeting about it last week. was incredibly concerned. I know that people are definitely struggling and it sucks. But at the end of the day, we have no control over it. And, you know, Dawson Creek has been dealing with drought after drought after drought for years. I know it's been heavily impacting their infrastructure from pulling from the Bear Hole Lake. That takes weeks. It's got lots of silt and sand in it. The droughts have been affecting them pulling from Kiskatna. They're going through filters like crazy. These are all things that we heard on our water tour. It makes sense. It sucks. But I know that part of the reason why they are looking at having to do this is for those reasons. These severe droughts have had negative impacts on their water system. And that's kind of part of it. I know, I feel the exact same way. You're not alone. Councillor Rupp.
What's the timeline for these water rate changes, and what's our wiggle room on it?
So we have no wiggle room, and the timeline I think is in by the next billing cycle, if I'm correct.
It is.
Yes, yeah.
So it's obviously immediate.
It's immediately.
Merry Christmas.
So we're being provided a service. We've been given notice, I assume, of this change in cost, and then now we have to recoup that cost from the folks that we essentially just collect from on our end. Like, we get the water from Dawson, but we end up billing for it and then remitting to Dawson.
Yeah.
And we break even.
We literally, we are not making any money. We are breaking even. Exactly what they're charging us is exactly what we are charging.
Actually, we probably lose money because it costs staff time to make the bills.
Yeah.
Like, we're not making a penny off of this because we do understand that, you know. Sadly, we live in an area where water is something that is sparse, and it's something that we've been struggling with droughts, and it has been negatively impacting the whole region, right?
This isn't the first time this has come up, because I think this agreement's been in place for quite a long time, and it's because of the one pipe that was built, you know, once upon a time. So it's yeah, we're not the first folks to have to see this, but I think it's that conversation trying to figure out, you know, what's a balanced partnership in this.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Mr. Sobalski. The other thing was the ticketing bylaw. So I see that you've begun working on that.
Yes.
You brave man.
It's a fun project, but I've had a lot of great collaboration with our respective staff. We're hoping to have that most likely not for review on the first Cal meeting, but our second Cal meeting, which will be in February 2025. We've done a pretty thorough policy and bylaw development audit, I like to call it.
I see that. You've got quite a few here.
Yeah, we've got quite a few that do need a little bit of augmentation and review, right? So we've got a variety of them ranging from animal control bylaws and procedures to everything to a Puskupi volunteer fire department bylaw that does require some updating. A board of variance bylaw that was alluded to by Councillor Wall respectively earlier in the proceedings. Updating our emergency measures bylaw. It's been a few, I want to say almost 2 decades since we've looked at that emergency measures bylaw.
Oh, wow.
I think last time it was looked at was in 1999. And then we have parks and open spaces void for looking at how we control usage of our parks and open spaces within the municipality. So this can be, you know, including noise ordinances, acceptable usage, prohibitions of what can be activities in our municipal park spaces. And that does allude into a similar activity, which is our policies under review and development. So some of the things that we are looking at are a media relations policy. We are looking at, which could tie into a communication policy as well. Council and staff relation policy, just to outline the essential understanding of clear roles and what the role of the public office officials are in visionary practices. Fire department honorarium policy that could have some changes to our accompanying point system. Finance and asset management policies, as well as municipal advertising and customer service standards policies.
So Councillor Rabble had a question first. So Councillor Rabble, then Councillor Whittle.
Councillor Whittle might have the same thing. We did something way back, like a year or two ago, with the honorarium for fire department.
Yeah, so we had a couple of years back, and it went back to staff, so I'm not too sure if they forgot. But the fire chief had come to us, and they had the fire department had asked for additional funding to implement a point system. I believe at the time we designated an extra $35,000 a year.
We're only doing that practice now, Councillor, unfortunately.
This came to us just about 3 years ago.
Yeah, so that point system is exactly what our respective fire chief has presented as a proposal during my first month of oversight.
He didn't propose it to you, he already proposed it.
Yeah, it's sort of a pass. So my question is, if this is just being implemented now, where'd that $70,000 go?
Well, I'd have to look into that and follow up. I just don't believe it was earmarked towards this practice.
Because it was removed from our budget, so.
Was it?
Yeah,
Oh,
last
okay.
year they moved the money out of our budget, and that's where we were told it went.
Okay, well, I'll have to get follow up on that with the finance team, but
Yeah, because this is something that had come to us years ago that we had approved, and we had
Yeah.
actually allocated an additional $35,000 towards the Pooskoopi Fire Department budget for member retention.
It was pretty much the start because we had to.
That's our second or third meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is obviously something that was never fully followed through with. I don't believe it was taken out of our
I don't believe
budget.
so.
As like, we have clean audits, we have clean fund, like everything is, there's never been a single red flag or,
I remember asking
Issue.
a question in our long budget session that we had last
Yes.
time around about that, and I remember our former,
CFO.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's exactly, that was where that money went.
And then, so I'm assuming that at that point in time, that money might have been earmarked, but was never then
But that would
followed
have shown up in the following year's financials, wouldn't it? Not,
it would, but I know when we were doing the drafting procedures of the staff capacity meeting for O&M and operations, it was included as a proposed inclusion for the upcoming budget.
Mm-hmm.
So that discussion was had.
Yes, Councilor Brown.
On a positive note, this is moving and moving some things around and consolidating things, making things more transparent. We haven't changed certain fees in a long time. They're in different bylaws. Sometimes they're in two different spots that have different numbers. It's kind of confusing, right? So consolidating this, making it more clear helps for public transparency and approach
And administrative oversight.
and attracting and retaining businesses, because an easier place to operate with, people don't want to do business in a place that makes it difficult and cumbersome. They want to do it, they want to focus on their business, not on paperwork. So,
And that is the goal from the perspective of the counselor. Most of these activities and tasks align with our corporate strategic plan. So this isn't necessarily a rationale we're pulling out of left field.
no, this is the thing, for sure.
There's strategic alignment which has been asked for by this council.
Yeah.
And we're making sure that we're following through on that.
Yeah, no, this looks awesome. And really, I have no concern about this. Well, I'm bummed that this fire department thing has not happened.
But it hasn't
We-
fallen off the table.
It hasn't, and we've also, Core Partners is our new CFO, and they've been going through everything. They're wonderful.
could we ask them to look, do you need a motion for that?
No, I can just
No.
follow up that as administrative practice.
They've been up to their eyeballs in budgets and not just our budget. They've been looking at previous years. They've been looking at like what we've been doing for.
And the whole team has been fantastic in
They're
this.
wonderful.
You know, we
Because that money was allocated,
Yeah.
the account with it
I'm
allocated.
not worried about
An
it.
expense line allocated.
I'm assuming that it was not used for that budget line item, and it either sat there because we're also not seeing deficits, right? So.
So we budgeted for
I know,
that, so even
so-
if the money didn't go there but went somewhere else, we still
Yeah.
wouldn't see a deficit because we still budgeted.
Unless it was just included in the overall budget for the fire department.
Yeah, that's
And then it might have
fine.
been allocated to equipment, which is fine if that money
Which
got
is fine if
allocated.
it was
to
allocated
equipment
there,
or
yeah,
something
but-
along those
Labor,
lines.
it might have
Yeah.
been allocated to a general labor expense line. Again,
No.
I'd have to follow up on this one, but I can speak for the endorsement of the team. They are working diligently.
phenomenal.
They're doing a great job working diligently and seeing this.
And Miss McNair is teaching them all kinds of wonderful things, and we have a really great team going on. So I'm not worried about it one little bit. So.
Very fortunate.
Yeah, no, they'll figure it out. Let us know. I'm assuming, Councilor Whittle's point probably got rolled into something else within the fire department. We have been updating our CV.
Oh, we're not paying all kinds of stuff.
I know, we've been updating a pile of different things. So, yeah, so I'm not worried about it. Yeah, this is phenomenal. You are busy. And then, so these bylaws, when they come up for review, they'll be coming to like the committee of the whole, and so we're gonna be doing a lot of bylaw stuff in the next year. I can just see it.
The next few months, you're on board.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. You can laugh. You can do it.
Finally, my head.
Councillor Ravel?
What can council do to assist with this endeavor? And then the other piece is with the number 4 monthly departmental reports. Are we having departmental representatives, or are you just transferring those reports to us?
We'll most likely have a quarterly, let's say, opportunity for department heads and senior reporting staff to come and meet with council and present the reports, just for a rapport building exercise. Always very good practice to have. Regarding the first question, best practice and how council and respective public office can help and assist in this is we stay diligent on moving items and staying to the topic in COW meetings. If we can really move through practice and be succinct in our communication, we can get through this in a timely manner.
That's great. Okay, any other questions about the report? This looks awesome. Do you need any recommendations or motions moved by us from your report? I'm not seeing
Not
any.
required.
No.
Not required.
Just making sure. Alrighty, okay. Moving on to 13.2 action items. There's no action items, but there's 13.3?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so there's no action items at this time, so moving on to 13.3. The council accepts the capital and special projects report as information. Seconder by Councillor Woodall, thank you. Let's have a sneaky peek. Any discussion regarding our capital and special projects? So this is for our 2025, or is it still going off of our 2024?
This is still going off of 2024. We will have an inclusion of an update on the development of the capital budget included on the COW meeting on January 8th. Pretty much here we just have a couple different components included. So we have a sewage lagoon uplift project update just regarding some eligible and ineligible expenses under the TPA through UBCM. We did try to communicate for some aggregate procurement and then staging to be included as an eligible expense. Unfortunately, due to the fact that we were looking at repurposing that aggregate, it would not be included as an eligible expense. So we were provided a recommendation from UBCM's Committee and Review Board to look at possibly trying to include that repurposed aggregate for uplifting and revitalizing the access road to the sewage lagoon because of all the rutting and all the heavy equipment traffic that's happened on during the course of the project activities. So we have got a memo being developed through our partners at Urban Systems so that we can follow up before the Christmas break, send that off to UBCM for review, and hopefully have follow-up by January's COW meeting. Councillor.
So essentially, there was aggregate purchased as a part of this project to store on site to get a better price this year before, assumably, things go more expensive. But then now that's been deemed as potentially, or is it an ineligible expense?
Ineligible.
So sorry, I apologize. So then, therefore, the village has to foot the bill.
Correct. But we could get some of that possible, let's say, increasing scope of purchase or that quantified number of purchase included through an eligible expense under this review if we're able to repurpose it towards that access road.
So the concern is, okay, you bought a bunch of aggregate, you're using part on here, but you might go make some pathway somewhere else, and they're worried about that.
That is a concern from the review committee.
That would be deemed ineligible. But if we can prove that all of that aggregate is used on-site related to the project, then it is deemed eligible.
Correct.
So we don't have to foot the bill right now. We could foot the bill, but we've got guidelines for how not to have
Correct.
to.
And most of these are reimbursement-based TPAs, so we're going to be paying this out of our general coffers. And then once we can provide proof of eligibility through the reporting measures, we do get that return back to us.
Okay. Good stuff. No, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
So not too bad. Timeline on the project did escalate a little bit past the December 15th deadline, but they did wrap up, I believe it was either today or tomorrow. So that pretty much outlines the updates for the sewage lagoon uplift project. Bullet point 2 just updates some progress on the OCP. We're targeting an adoption by April 2025. Legal review is going to be anticipated within 60 days after we do receive a draft back from Urban Systems. The big holdup has been the new policy additions for a vacant land map and housing type analysis to meet provincial requirements. So that can really be a guiding document we can utilize for the next 10 years rather than something that sits on the shelf and doesn't get utilized. And there will be a public meeting planned for March 2025 to engage residents on proposed housing policies and land use updates. So that should be something to keep on the horizon and stay tuned for additional updates.
And that's all on the OCP?
Yes, that's all in the OCP, and then we will have let's say compounding and follow-up work concerning the zoning review once this is ratified.
Is that contained within the scope of the OCP project?
No, those are separate scopes. Same funding streams and same funding pots that we received from the province, but separate scopes.
And those were those grants we had received?
Yes, for totaling $153,000 last year, so that we can go through rezoning review, high density classification, possible changes to lot sizes, and see the feasibility and the validity to that.
Okay.
Councillor Wall?
And Urban Systems has the understanding that this council is potentially not willing to receive bills out of nowhere again?
Oh yeah, so it's been communicated that we have a pretty streamlined change order communication process now, and that was a big gap that had, developed over the previous maybe 6
If
to 8
there's
months.
going to be extra costs, I for one would like to know of those extra costs before they do them and bill us an extraordinary amount.
Oh, and that's been communicated to Urban Systems. So the
Okay.
change order process has been finalized, and it's working quite well. There will be a change order to review the overage that we discussed last week in the January 8th Cal meeting. 2 weeks ago, sorry. 2 weeks ago.
So they've already gone over what we've.
Well, that was what was discussed in the previous memo.
Yeah, we already did that at the last council meeting.
Yes, but they've gone over that?
No.
Okay.
No, they've not gone over that. I know, okay.
Yeah, no.
Like, if they've gone over that, I'm done.
No, they have not, Councillor, so
Yeah.
we're on track. This is good news. We have finalized our MODI referral process letter in review, and that's been shared with our civic engineering partners. And then we're going to be looking at getting the ball rolling on legal review and financial updates for April 2025 adoption. So the good thing is we're on timeline. We still have timeline on the runway. So this is all positive things. Capital collaboration. So we are in the process of initiating some discussions with Iron Wolf Athletics regarding the ball diamond project as well as the MOU for outlining partnerships. We'll be continuing that process in the new year and hopefully have the MOU draft with Iron Wolf Athletics completed by February 2025. Then we just have an update about CCBF. So there was a new CCBF agreement ratified, I believe, in October or so with the federal government. So it just outlines the eligible categories because there's about 4 or 5 categories that have been expanded on. So
We get 92,000 a year, right?
Yes, 98,000. Sorry, 98,000 is our allocated balance that we get from CCBF each year, formerly known as the gas tax. And some of the expanded categories are there is some additional inclusion for drinking water eligibility, broadband connectivity eligibility. There is, I believe, an area for capacity building, so that's for OCPs, things of that nature, as well as expanded scope for recreation, tourism, and culture engagement, PPAs, applications, things of that nature. So we will have a brochure that will be sent out in the early new year, just outlining exact nuances of each eligible category.
And I see you have 4 recommendations here. Are you looking for a motion from any of these 4 recommendations?
Well, we will need a motion regarding the sewage lagoon project to approve the continued use of the aggregate for the access road, just because that's going to be a change in scope from what was previously discussed as part of this project.
It's not the aggregate that we are purchasing in advance to build the retaining structure with?
It is that aggregate.
Because it's eligible for an uplift.
Yes.
If we use that, we put it in, then we're eligible for an uplift, and then anything we use on the lagoon gets covered too.
Correct.
So then we're not needing the cost of having to
okay.
fix the road, there's potentially an uplift to fix the
Yeah.
road.
Yeah, so this will include, I guess, addition of additional culverts. There will be some geograde as well as some high-level aggregate put down, and then on top of that, just resurfacing all the rutting and damage caused by heavy equipment traffic over the course of the project.
Councillor Rebel?
But the reason for this is we bought too much aggregate, kind of. Or it's assumed that there will be excess aggregate that we'll have to utilize within this kind of area of the project.
Yes, and the original, I guess, goal was to have some additional aggregate to repurpose for other uses. You know, this could be for trail development. This could
You
be.
pay for the truck, right?
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. So.
And that road that they're using to
Oh, yeah.
fix the lagoon is like,
Would
if you wanna go into,
Heck of a grade, yes.
into labor, that's the best place to drive. That's right. I've been there, late baby, August, I could use that. Yeah, okay, well then, I make the motion that, that I approve the use of the aggregate for the access road improvements and that we submit a revised expense report to UBCM. Can I get seconded by Councillor Woodall? Discussion regarding the motion? All those in favor? And that is carried.
Move the rocks.
Okay, and then you also need one for the OCP as well?
We will need a motion for directing resources for that public engagement strategy.
Okay, I make the motion that staff begin the public engagement strategy and finalize legal and geotechnical review for the April 2025 adoption. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Woodall. Discussion regarding the motion, Councillor Ravel?
In the keynotes on the previous page, it mentions an estimated overage of $10,000, and that's was apparently discussed in the previous council meeting.
Well, so, yeah, so that's covered under that grant, right? That $150,000 grant, yeah.
That's okay, because that's the same reason I asked
Yeah.
the question I just asked, is because I was like, so we just gave them a bunch of extra money and now they're asking for another, they're already over 10,000.
Yeah, no.
Well, I'm asking this question as due diligence because of
Yeah.
the nature of the motion. So
Yeah.
essentially, there's a grant that covers it. The overage was addressed previously,
Yeah,
but it is related to this motion.
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Will we be having to spend more on this engineering firm?
Well,
For them to
they,
complete this project, they've been contracted to complete now over 2 years ago.
so at this point in time, as Mr. Sobolski stated, they are doing the final updates from the housing, and different things that have sort of funneled down through the province, so they are finishing up that part. Once that is complete, then, anything else that's coming forward for contract work, we will be following our purchasing policy and our RFP.
RFP process.
That's right. Okay. All right, I'm gonna call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you very much. Okay, did I cover them all? Is that it? We're all good?
The last two are just for homework.
Okay, perfect. Alrighty. Okay, we're gonna move on to council calendars. That's something we still don't have, hey? Have you figured out how to find that, where you make them from? I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I need to go home.
No worries, but we do have pressing shared calendar dates or shared calendar initiatives, requirements. We will have that included as an agenda.
Okay.
There's just nothing pertaining to that on this agenda.
Okay, perfect. Yes.
I will not be here between January 14th and 19th. Actually, looking at the file, do we have a committee of the whole meeting or a council meeting for those days?
No, we have the 8th and 22nd.
That's good.
Where are you going January 14th?
This is my mom.
Oh, wonderful.
I know.
Have fun, drive safe.
Well, I'm not gonna.
Okay, perfect. Anybody else randomly away? Let me
I
guess.
will be-
You're gone.
I will be unavailable between December 25th and January 5th. In contact.
Oh, good for
Are
you.
you visiting James's mom too?
No,
I'm
he's setting a
2 weeks
boundary and
before.
taking some time off, and we're gonna all celebrate that he's done this.
Actually, you know what? I will also be unavailable between December and January. What day did you say?
January 5th.
January 5th.
So I will be available.
No, if there's an emergency.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll be.
Just don't schedule a council meeting.
No, I
As
won't.
soon as
I
she's
25th and the
4
1st.
council meetings for the week she's gone.
You have fun with that. Okay, all right, well, Councillor Johnson is away with notice, so moving on to Councillor Rabble, what you been up to?
Well, it's nearing Christmas time, so usually, folks are having different Christmas parties and stuff. Nothing that relates to this. The Schnitzel night that happened at the Legion was very successful. It's always great to see folks come out for that. It's always great to meet new people and see wonderful faces. There must have been some other stuff, but in all honesty, the shuffle in portfolios and it'll be some good stuff. Everybody's doing really good work in the community. It's good to see that. It's terrible.
No, that's fine. Okay, Councillor Wall?
Well, yeah, I'm like,
Oh, jeez, I forgot.
Oh, what did you forget? Add it in real quick, he hasn't spoken.
I'm just gonna, I'll just,
Yeah.
he can jump in on mine, it's in mine.
Oh, okay.
So Schnitzel Night was a great success. We sold out. Fantastic. Great seeing the community. I have been doing some research with Councillor Rabble, and you can chime in on this anytime. Regarding the importance of the financial stability of the future of not just Pouce Coupe but the region, and with the money that BC Hydro has said they would be allocating to the municipalities affected by Site C and the environmental impacts of that and economic impacts as well. We've been looking into something similar to the Columbia River Trust. So in the southeastern portion of BC, they dammed the Columbia River multiple times, and the municipalities took that money, this is back in the 1960s, put it aside and invested it, and now 50 years later, they're receiving something very similar to the PRA agreement, but through BC Hydro. They get money every year, that money goes inside, and the municipalities take their share of the money out as interest. So they only live on the interest, they never touch the principal, and that share is growing to, it's actually a large portion of a lot of the municipalities' tax base, like of their operating funds come from this trust. And with the ongoing threat of oil and gas leaving the province, either by provincial mandates, or federal mandates, or taxes, or who knows? It's a very hostile environment right now. The PRA might not be here for much longer. Like I'm talking 50 years from now, it might not be here. We might not have that industry, and that's hard to think about. It's hard to say, especially at this table. But we should be looking at alternatives to. I'm going to be frank. In some ways, we are dependent on that PRA. And we're not the only municipality that is. And if we were to invest this money now, put it aside, we're already surviving without it. We'll be fine without it for the next little bit. If we put this money aside and invest it so that we future-proof this money, so that we have extra funds when the PRA eventually does end, I think that's a route not only Pouce Coupe should go, but the region as a whole should go. Therefore, it is my recommendation that we direct staff to create a small report about this, however, like not now, obviously, but to really, really just have the other mayors and councillors in the area that are receiving this money think about what the future actually holds financially and economically in our region.
So my understanding is your motion is you would like staff to investigate sort of the matrix of the Columbia River Trust, and if there's a way that we could potentially draft a report to send to other municipalities. Is that what you're looking for?
Yes.
Okay, can I get a seconder on that motion? Seconded by Councillor Rammel. Councillor Rammel.
So I understand where the member opposite's coming from, but I'd actually like to take it a step further. We've already seen this model work. It's already viable. If you rely on hand-to-mouth income, you'll forever be poor. If you build assets and build returns that keep things moving forever, that's how you sustain continued prosperity. We assist in being stewards of this community, not just for now, not just for the next 50 years, not just for the next 100 years, but for all the future that's to come. And we need to set it up in such a way where it can be viable long term, right? If we're hand to mouth all the time, that's not going to be good. A lot of people are in that situation in their own households right now. It's not a fun position. You're struggling to move forward with things. Creating a trust with this money before we receive it, now is the time. This window is closing. I beg of this council that we reach out to our neighboring municipalities and bring this forward at the regional district and communicate with bodies such as NDIT who could potentially assist with this endeavor. That now is our opportunity. If we miss this window and we simply accept this money, it will turn into another PRA. It will be incorporated into our regular revenue, and it will just become another thing that gets absorbed, right? And then we expand how we live within these new means, right? Now is the time before this window closes to work with our neighboring municipalities to utilize the existing funding dispersal structure that has already been put in effect by BC Hydro. We don't even need to debate and argue about the percentage of the returns in the future. It's already established through the dispersal, percentages.
Yeah, we
We
don't
don't
want to
even
touch
have to
anyone
waste on
else's,
that.
no.
We literally just need to get people on board in their neighboring municipalities. I'm calling on the city of Dawson Creek. I'm calling on the city of Fort St. John. I'm calling on Taylor. Calling on the other folks that are involved with this, that are receiving these funds. We have to do this now before this window closes. Because if we just take the money and put it into stuff, that's great now. But $1 today versus $100 tomorrow, and for the future, that's longevity. That's it right now. We need to look back in 100 years, when we're long gone, when they look back in 100 years and they say, thank God they did that. Because that's what the Columbia River Basin Trust has done. That's what NDIT is all about. What if all that BC Rail money just got splashed to everyone and we bought a couple of cool things and that was that? Where now we watch the prosperity that NDIT is able to provide, the Island Trust is able to provide. We need to act now on this before this window closes.
Not everybody gets this opportunity either.
This is a fantastic thing, especially as, the PRA is still here, and I hope its success in the future, and it's a wonderful, fantastic thing. But that's ultimately the thing. We might as well extend that olive branch and make this known to the other municipalities before this window closes.
Yeah, I think I definitely understand what you gentlemen are saying. I definitely understand your passion for it. I think it's worthwhile to look into. This model has already been created through NDIT, through the Columbia River Basin, right? Like this isn't.
Well, the Columbia River Basin is the exact same thing. They
Yeah,
built
we're not-
dams, the money,
Yeah.
it's.
So we're not building the wheel for the first time.
No.
So I think it would definitely be something that we could look into. Can I guarantee every municipality will buy into it? No. But I think if we go about it professionally and strategically, and really sort of bring that whole together feeling within the region, this could definitely be a conversation that I'd be more than willing to see us bring forward. So I am interested in staff looking into it. I don't guarantee it will go anywhere, but hey, we can't say we didn't try. Yeah.
How do we go a step further? What do we need to endorse this idea? To say that this is...
There'll need to be a report coming back, I'm sure.
Yeah. There needs to be, like, we cannot, I'm not willing to endorse this tonight. I'm not willing to buy in. There's a whole report process that needs to happen. We need to look at how we can properly present this, how this was done in the first place. There's like a whole, I definitely need more information before I'm willing to kind of jump in with both feet.
Mr. Spolsky, how long, what time frame, because time is short on this, because we're getting money this summer.
Not till the spring, I think, if I remember correctly.
The spring, even sooner?
I think it's like...
No, because we need to have this plan done and other communities involved in this prior to that money being
Before the first dispersal.
before the first payment.
Suggestion from administration is we do that background overview report as well as some preliminary correspondence, a one-pager on behalf of everyone here in public office, outlining what our goals are. Then we would have to send that out to our respective partners of the neighboring municipalities, the public office officials there, and let them chew on that for a little bit.
Could that be done before the end of January?
Oh yes, we can meet that goal.
Okay.
We can meet that goal, but like having a presentation ready, that might have to be a February type thing.
As long as it's before the money.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Do you require a motion?
You will require a motion on that because it's going to require some resources.
This was the motion.
So Councillor Wald did make a motion, so
Second from Councillor.
yeah.
I
Councillor
second,
Brown
and
seconded.
then I threw on some extras, but
And
it's-
I will accept them as a.
No, his extras were long-winded and basically us jumping in with both feet right now. I'm not jumping in with both feet.
So staff are looking for a report.
Yes.
Right now it's a preliminary report.
Yeah.
Preliminary correspondence.
Preliminary correspondence, seeing if any other municipalities would be interested.
Yeah,
Could you
and
send an email?
it's gonna come back to us probably January 8th.
Yes, it'll
Yeah.
be on the Cal agenda.
Could you send it to all the other municipalities though in the area going, would you guys be interested in being involved in something like this?
Best practices that would actually come from your honorable worships.
It comes here
correspondence.
first. It's gotta come back here first, we'll see it January 8th. Okay. We'll discuss it at the committee at the whole meeting, and then we'll at least know what we're looking at, right? So
That'd
let's,
be wonderful.
yes,
Mhm.
let's start there, right? I'm all for hunting for Big Willie, but can we just like calm down and start with a minnow before we hunt a whale? Okay.
Let's get a horse strapped up first.
Yeah.
before we start representing-
I just want to tell you, before you call the question, Mayor, is this motion, in my opinion, could be the biggest thing we do on council. Like, if this passes.
I know, we spent $4 million on the lagoon, that was pretty big.
Yeah, in 100 years, it's gonna have to be done again. This will provide money to people for generations to come, for the whole region.
If we can get the entire region to buy in, yes.
If we need most of the region to buy in, not everyone. But
All right, I'm gonna call the question. All those in favor? Perfect. I look forward to hearing the report. Okay, Councillor Wall, did you have anything else to?
no, that was long enough report.
Okay, perfect. Councillor Whittle, what have you been up to?
Nothing,
Okay, I've been to multiple different meetings, but honestly, I forgot my mayor's phone. I've had a chest infection for like 5 days, so I barely know if I'm coming or going. One thing I did do that I would like to include in this report is I did connect with Argo. So I had a bunch of community members reach out to me about concerns with the roads, safety, and Argo. I reached out and I spoke to Norm, who is the manager of Argo here in Dawson Creek, and honestly, I'm not going to throw stones. I'm not going to sit there and go, this is your problem, you need to fix it. At the end of the day, this is the province's problem. They're the ones that set what the bids are. They're the ones that set what they're looking for and the parameters. And as business owners, they're trying to fit within it. Yeah. I had a wonderful conversation with Norm about how we as a municipality could help support him. And not only him, but help support the members of the community and this region. And his biggest thing is, so these contracts, they go for 10 years, and then they normally go for a 5-year uplift. Okay, these contracts are also the same across the board. So you get the same amount of sand and salt in Vancouver as you do in Dawson Creek. They are no different. They're
needed there.
They're very different.
Well, yes, but they don't treat them like they are any different. And because they are individual companies and individual businesses, if Vancouver has a ton of leftover salt that they haven't used, they're not going to give it to us here. Because they're losing money on it. So, what Norm has asked is that if we have the opportunity, which I think we do, to get it in front of UBCM to demand that the province stop painting us all with the same brush and demand safer roads, safer highways, and better practices when it comes to these road maintenance contracts. And so if this council is interested, I would like for us to present at NCLGA, bring this forward, and hopefully get it in front of UBCM.
The resolution?
Yes. Councillor Rabble.
Not to tack on, but fair. Not to tack on, but there is this disparity in the province's approach. So they're building codes. That's the other thing too. There's been a change in the building code, from my understanding, that now requires rain shielding, which actually produces an air gap, which actually can make the weather, it makes it less insulative. So there are issues with the province in a couple of other regards, doing different things and or not, keeping it as one big thing. So I don't know if that's too unrelated to it, but the overarching theme is, when you guys put in these laws and legislation and assign these contracts, you have to consider the weather conditions of the location.
So that would definitely be a second one.
Okay.
A completely different thing. My official motion is that staff draft an official resolution for NCLGA approaching, God, how the hell do you put this in? Demanding that the province, help me here, people,
Review the safety of the highways based off regional needs.
oh, thank God.
Are we looking for this motion to include
That's
this
yes.
as a joint resolution with our sister municipalities?
Yes.
Yes, please.
And I believe somewhere in that motion has to say that the NCLGA lobby UBCM. That was the whole.
That's what I thought, I was like, do I have to say lobby, or do I have to say?
Yeah, lobby.
That was the whole
Yeah.
kerfuffle about my thing last time.
Yes, and that they do the whole lobby thing. See, that's why you guys are helping me build this, my brain is mush. Okay, can I get a seconder?
I already did.
Oh, seconded by Councilor Wall, thank you. Discussion?
Since we're talking resolutions, I don't have one right now.
We can't, I already have one on the floor, you're gonna wait.
No, but there are some other ones I'm wondering. And March is NCLGA?
Yes,
So if we work on resolutions in January, we could push towards some other resolutions as well.
if you have resolutions, please begin to start bringing them forward now.
Okay.
Like, now
next
is
3
when you
weeks, yes.
start bringing them forward, absolutely. And always gear for your resolutions to eventually make it in front of the UBCM board, right? So,
That's the point.
okay. Any other discussion regarding the resolution? Are all those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Yeah, so I have a much longer report, frankly, I can't remember any of it now, but I will email it to you when I get home. Okay. Ugh.
I'm just calling it salt the roads.
Okay, there's no question period, so we're gonna move to in-camera. So we're moving into in-camera as per section 91 of the community charter under C, E, F, G, and K. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councilor Woodall, thank you. Discussion regarding moving into closed? All those in favor? Okay.